5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hi, I'm Tom Donahue. I'll be your host tonight for live election night coverage here on PEG TV, Public Education and Government Television, right here in Rutland County. Thank you so much for watching. The results are coming in soon. Right now, the polls are officially closed, and the votes are being tallied by clerks around the entire county, and we're excited to be able to communicate those totals to you tonight as they come in from various towns. We want to thank those towns, those town clerks, those ward clerks for all the work that they have done today, and for getting hold of and communicating with PEG TV so that we can report to you around the county the results of many, many races. Some towns having actual contested races, some not. But one of the things consistent on most of the town budgets are budget items, so town budgets and various things that they'll need to move their municipalities forward into the future. So we'll be reporting, hopefully, as the results come in from various towns, as quick as we get them, we'll be communicating them to you. We also intend to have guests on the program today. We'd love to have various candidates and others of prominence in the region to come in and talk to us. So a lot of people have been invited from all walks, and hopefully they'll be visiting us here in the studio, and we'll bring them live to you tonight so that we can talk about, what they heard on the campaign trail and what they see are the issues and what their plan is for the future. So we're excited tonight. Big races in the city of Rutland, of course. Before I get into that, a couple of things. One, I'd like to start with recognizing the folks that are putting this program together tonight. It's quite a team, starting with the fearless leader here at PEG TV, Rutland Region Community Television, is Tom Leopold, the executive director. Additionally, there's a great team of staff that are working on this. They work here during the year, mostly throughout the year, but all team up together tonight to bring you this live coverage in a comprehensive way. And that is, of course, as I mentioned, Tom Leopold, Nancy Donahue, Chelsea Vogel, Rich Elnicki, Jim Botten, Greg McCormick, William Shemaleski, Stephen Wilson, and Chris Donahue. So that's a heck of a team. And then yours truly, Tom Donahue. And they do all that hard work behind the scenes, so I have to just be here with you reporting their results. So we're excited tonight. Of course, everything we talk about tonight are technically unofficial results. Clerk's tallies go to the Secretary of State and will be formalized pronto. But it's everything tonight is as accurate as we can expect. Very accurate information, however, unofficial. And so I wanted to also mention, of course, that I am a candidate on the ballot for Rutland City Alderman. And being a small town, I actually do live election night coverage too. So this is kind of fun. I do want to point out, of course, that we start this after the polls have in fact closed, and that the tallies are being tallied by clerks, and we're just communicating them out to you. So with that, I want to take a quick break, not from off the air, but a pancake break, because at Trinity Episcopal Church, it is Shrove Tuesday, the night before, and this is kind of a tradition, the night before the beginning of Lent, which is tomorrow. And traditionally, people have, in various different ways, biblical and others, have gone to ways to sort of eat the night before, use up things in the cupboard. It's kind of a tradition, this Shrove Tuesday, but it also brings together community around a meal. And it is, in a way, sort of a celebration of the word shriven, an Old English word meaning absolved of sin, times of confession, repentance during Lent, and thus the word Shrove Tuesday. And so Mother Sarah Janolfi over there at Trinity Episcopal Church, and Christina Sweet, who is actually a candidate for the school board, and we'll be talking about Christina tonight, decided to bring me some of the pancakes. So I'm just going to go ahead and try one live on the air. By the way, some very healthy fruit that went with the ingredients in the pancake that we're supposed to use up tonight. And it's good. So, great job by Christina Sweet, Mother Sarah Ginolfi, Trinity Episcopal Church, 85 West Street. We thank you for making sure that I got a bite of that. I love pancakes any time of the day or night. And I am looking forward to the first day of Lent tomorrow with Ash Wednesday, and there will be some Lenten fasting going on in the Donahue household. So one other thing, just as one last program note, I did want to just take a moment to thank my own campaign team, which consisted of Emeritus Peg Flory, Esquire. A lot of people remember Peg as a senator. Cal Joslin Jr., and Gail Donahue, they were the co-chairs. Gail was the treasurer. And this team of three really was great for me throughout the last couple of weeks as we put our name on the ballot too and sought the input from the voters and to determine what the important issues were and how we might present ourselves to the public for your consideration. So again, thank you to Peg Flory, Cal Joslin Jr., and Gail Donahue. Sincerely appreciated to help me through this last couple of months. With that, I also wanted to invite on the program here for a few minutes while we wait for results, Greg Thayer. And Greg is with us tonight, and we'll let him talk about for a second, he has program on, and Chelsea's got a program note. Well, Greg's coming over here, and Chelsea's coming over there. And the program note is guest Greg Thayer. How about that? Look at that right there.
Hey, they spelled my name right.
So welcome to the program, Greg. Well, we're, of course, live on PEG TV, and we're throughout the county. A lot of county races tonight. The city has a ton, as you know. But I was counting earlier, looking at the election night coverage binder that this team that I referenced a minute ago put together. And I always study this before I come on the air. And I was noting that really the contested races are just in 5 of the towns. So, ironically, in Rutland City, for example, you have 12 candidates for 6 seats on the Board of Aldermen. Mm-hmm. I was in Bennington last night speaking at the town meeting there. They have 10 people running for the 3 seats on their select board. You have some significant interest in certain races. And then conversely, throughout the county, in almost, I'd say primarily most of the towns don't have contested races, so they have 1 for 1, 2 for 2, and so forth. So it's kind of interesting that there's these sort of pockets of excitement, and then there's sort of like, well, we found somebody to run, and they're by virtue of no write-ins, they're going to beat them. They're elected. Yeah. So it's kind of interesting. But so the ones with some contested races, Rutland City, as I mentioned, of course, the town of Rutland, Brandon, Mendon, and Hubbardton. Now, I should also point out, and we hope to be able to report this to you tonight, that a number of these towns, most of these towns, I should say, really, have budget items on the ballot tonight as well. So we really want to be able to let you know whether the townsfolk that voted were able to give a thumbs up, thumbs down to their town budgets, a variety of things. There's a few. I made note of one fun one. I just had to highlight it here, if I can find, just because I think it was kind of interesting and very Vermont. If I can get to Brandon for 1 second. And they had a contested race, by the way. They have, well, let me get to that part first. They have 2 people running for select board and for one seat. And then for select board for a 1-year term, that was a 3-year term. For a 1-year term, they had 4 people running for 2 seats. Wow. So that's cool for Brandon. That's great. Yeah. But they also have Article 5, which would allocate, if approved by the voters, would allocate $7,000 to a Brandon Independence Day celebration. So, in effect, 4th of July celebration. And it'll be interesting to see if the voters said, thumbs up to 4th of July in Brandon.
Yeah,
how about that?
Tammy and I were there last year.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So. And we had great seats watching the fireworks. They had good food, good people.
Perfect.
Billy Karras runs out of the rec department.
Okay.
And there was a parade earlier. It was nice. It was beautiful. But I've got I voted.
Yes, very good, very good.
Praise the King, and
Yeah, and there seemed to be a pretty good turnout. I should mention, we talked about the voting today, and I don't know the final turnouts yet anyway, but I can tell you that it was pretty steady throughout the day. And one of the things that worked beautifully, thank goodness, Mother Nature had a little hand in that, was, the weather was decent. We've had some days where you had snow, and ice and rain and sleet, various things. You just didn't know what to expect this winter.
Yeah.
But finally, we got an actual election day that was dry, and as the day went on, it got a little warmer.
Yeah. Tammy and I voted about 5:15.
Okay.
And when we went through, there was 1,058, I believe, and there were still 20 people out there voting at Christ the King, and a lot of people walking in.
Yep. And that would usually count also if I'm, unofficially I'm going to say this because I'm not a clerk, but I do believe that they would also, during the day, they feed in those absentee ballots. So that would be an all-inclusive number.
But each district has about 4,400 when they do the reestablishing and everything, redrawing the lines, and now we're at 4 districts. And so 1,000, I think it's going to get up to about 1,400 to 1,500 by the end of the day. And I guess they're at the end now. We're after 7.
Yeah, we're after 7. So, it's closed. It's done.
We just drove by.
Yeah,
we drove by a couple of them, and there were still people out and about going in.
Yeah, so that's really a great, what a great thing to talk about in Rutland, Vermont, to have, folks getting out to vote. It's just, it's so important.
It's one right nobody can take away from you.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's one of the things that makes America great.
I think, Tom, what the big thing on the ballot today are the school budgets. And I think the state, and with the governor's plan to reconfigure our state education system to 5 districts instead of, I think we have 19 today, and they want to know how these budgets go. Last year, I think 1/3 of all budgets failed on the first attempt, and it took, some into June to get their budgets passed. So I think that's going to be a big, big issue today.
Interesting.
Across the state. And I think the Department of Ed, Zoe Saunders is probably watching this.
Interesting. So Montpelier is watching to see how the town budgets go, whether the
school budgets,
school budgets, right? Good point. How they are received by the electorate,
right?
And whether they get thumbs up or thumbs down today as an indication that people are satisfied or dissatisfied, maybe.
Yeah. The spending. There's a lot of spending in the schools. And I know when I was touring the state doing my town halls on CRT stuff, a lot of people, including Dan French, the former Secretary of the Agency of Education, he said, we don't have CRT in our curriculum. It's what the schools are doing. And then they went on and told me how the schools, a lot of these budgets are big because of what the taxpayers vote on at their local school budgets.
Right.
Because somebody gets their tax bill, there's 2 parts of it. There's the municipal, and then there's the education. And the education is, based on what the taxpayers want to spend, what the school districts put out, and what the taxpayers adopt. So, so 1/3, 33% of all school districts last year, said no.
Wow.
So it's going to be interesting what's going to happen this year.
Yeah, so to your point, in Rutland City, for example, it is 67,187,000 on today's ballot, which was it was budget Article 2. And then the city municipal budget is Article 1, and that was $26,635,709.88.
When you were on the city council before, what was the city budget?
Geez, I actually don't recall.
When I was on in the early 2000s, it was like 24 million, and it's only 26 million today. So I think we do a pretty good job, the administrations over the year to keep that budget, pretty good, but it's the school budget. Because I remember the school budget being under that, like 19 million, and now it's 67 million.
So talking to the mayor about that recently, he had mentioned that the increase is somewhere around 2.8% for this year's budget, which is, pretty hard to achieve these days. But glad that he did.
And the biggest drivers there are what? Healthcare costs. salaries and stuff like that. And now we're finding ourselves, and you probably witnessed this when you were on prior, but I did when I was on 20 years ago, 15 years ago. And, the buildings, our buildings are dilapidating. Our buildings are getting old. And we've got the big issue going on right now with the library building and what to do with it.
Right.
And the Asa Bloomer building is sitting there almost dormant. There's not a lot of employees in that building.
Yeah.
And that's a big building.
Yeah, but yet another old building. So.
Another old building that needs work. And I think Henry Heck would tell us, and I think I can probably say this because the elections, the votes are
close.
in.
Yeah, they're close.
That the parking garage comes with that purchase of, if we were to buy or take over the Asa Bloomer building downtown, you get the parking garage with it, and there's a lot of problems in that parking garage.
Yeah, and I don't know all the details of what that plan will entail ultimately, but it's one of the things that potentially could be on the table.
Yeah.
And then of course the potential of the vacancy of Walmart building, which is about 78,000 square feet, and of course you have owners, Brixmor, of that property, so they'll certainly have a lot to say about what goes there next.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I kind of see it as some exciting times with some opportunities looking ahead. That we can get excited about and that we can all have some impact on, I think. So
I
that's
think it's really exciting that we had 12 people running for the city council.
That's why I mentioned Bennington too, with 10 people running for 3 seats. I mean, it really does speak well.
It does.
I'm proud of everybody who put their name on the ballot for every office.
I did a Facebook post today, and I always do it with every election. I thank everybody for running. It doesn't matter your ideology, your political standing. It's just, it takes a lot to put, as you know, and you did it as a young guy, because I remember, I think I was still like a junior in high school, your first run. And, it takes a lot to put your name out there. And I know people say, I'm not running. I don't want them to know my past. Well, hey, I've got a past. And you know what? I'm proud of who I am, and I have ideas, and this is my city, my state, my country.
Yeah, and that's really what it's about, is people, all the people here on these lists, whether it's alderman, mayor, school board candidates, et cetera, care about the city of Rutland. And
I think it's
care
great.
deeply about it. And, whether you agree on certain issues or not, the one thing I would not disagree on is that every single one of them cares about Rutland and is passionate about Rutland.
Yeah.
And so on throughout the county and their towns.
And we had 6 running for 4 seats for the school board?
Yeah, so exactly right. So 6 for 4.
And I know there was one write-in. I was getting some emails yesterday. I don't remember her name, but
right. So the school commissioners, the 6 seats open for or 4 seats open with 6 candidates is the 3-year term. Mm-hmm. And then the school commissioner for a 1-year term is actually open. There was nobody name submitted, so there was 2 write-in candidates sort of vying for that. And one is Rebecca Mallon, and the other is Jen Rodinone.
Ronadonde or Ronadon? Yeah, I've seen the name, but I don't.
Yep. So
sorry,
Jen. And they were both running some, pretty respectable campaigns as write-ins, which is really interesting because it is hard to get elected as a write-in. But when you have 2 candidates both suggesting, writing them in, then it kind of clarifies it a little more, a little less vague, and a little more competitive. So good for them for putting their names forth. That would be the 1-year seat. And then, if they were elected, then they could then go for a 3-year seat, say next year, with the other half of the board. The boards are divided up, and the Board of Aldermen same way with, so it starts on the odd years, you have the even number of candidates running, so on Board of Aldermen, for instance, there's 11. So you'd have on this year 2025, you'd have 6 candidates running. Conversely, in the year 2026, you'll have the 5 candidates running, the balance of the board, so they offset it that way accordingly. So we have some results in. So this is exciting.
Before you get into the results, okay, drum roll.
Yeah.
I got to say, the staff down here is incredible.
They sure are. And I already went ahead and thanked them all before we opened the program, or as we opened the program.
Tom and Nancy, they do a great job, and I really enjoy coming down here. So
this is Calvary Bible Church, and this is what's considered Ward 4 here in Rutland. It's actually on the reconfiguration, it's Rutland 7. But we're calling it Ward 4. This is for mayor, and Mike Dungus has 534 votes at Calvary 500, and that'd be Ward 4 again, 534 votes for Mike Dunges, who is the current mayor, of course, with his challenger Henry Heck with 474 votes. Henry Heck, 474 votes. And then write-in candidates, 5. So you have and we don't know who those are. But right now, for the 2-year term of mayor of the city of Rutland, in Calvary, Ward 4, Mike Dunges with 534 votes to Henry Heck's 474 votes. So there's the first ward in. A couple of these are uncontested: city treasurer, Katie Langlois for city assessor, Mary Markowski for treasurer, and of course they're uncontested. So we're going to go right to the Board of Aldermen because everyone's waiting to hear just how we did. I'm just going to go in alphabetical order because it's the simplest, and then we'll see where they sugar off. But Alex Adams, again, this is Ward 4, Calvary Bible Church. Alex Adams, 388 votes. David Allaire, of course, was former mayor of Rutland, 580 votes. Jeffrey Bruce, 284 votes. Paul Clifford, 495 votes. Larry Coopely, 446 votes. Tom Donahue, 514 votes. Kurt Esposito, 227 votes. William Billy Gillum Jr., 498 votes. Gina Grove, 321 votes. John McCann, 327 votes. Kiana McClure, 452 votes. Carrie Savage, 365 votes. So that is in Ward 4, Calvary Bible Church is what I call it. But we'll go run right down through that list again for those taking notes at home. Alex Adams, 388 votes. David Allaire, 580 votes. Jeffrey Bruce, 284 votes. Paul Clifford, 495 votes. Larry Coopely, 446 votes. Tom Donahue, 514 votes. Kurt Esposito, 227 votes. William Billy Gillum Jr., 498 votes. Gina Grove, 321 votes. John McCann, 327 votes. Kiana McClure, 452 votes. Carrie Savage, 365 votes. So that's for the Board of Aldermen 2-year term in Rutland City. Now right on to the school commissioners, and then we can get back to the finishing order, but I think it's very important that we give folks out there who are waiting to hear their tallies some results. So we're going to go right to that 6 for 4, 3-year term in the school board. Greg Thayer is with me here in the studio. Thank you, Greg, for being here with us. But let's start out, again, in alphabetical order. We've got Karen Bossy with 418 votes. Sarah Dunges, 406 votes. Mary Beth Lennox Levens, 425 votes. Christina Sweet, 441 votes. Lauren Weiss, 376 votes. And Courtney Collins Whitcomb, 340 votes. Now this again, Ward 4, Calvary. And I'm going to go right back in alphabetical order again for those taking notes at home. Oh, and by the way, there is 69 write-in votes, so we're going to have to determine who those went for. We may or may not be able to parse that out tonight, but we'll try. Again, Karen Bossy, 418 votes. Sarah Dunges, 406 votes. Mary Beth Lennox Levens, 425 votes. Christina Sweet, 441 votes. Lauren Weiss, 376 votes. Courtney Collins Whitcomb, 340 votes. And again, write-in 69. So we'll have to determine on those 2 write-in candidates who's getting the majority of those, so we can report on that. Oh no, I take that back. So that 69 is write-ins for those 3-year terms.
Right. Yeah.
Going down to the school commissioner for 1-year write-ins, 204. Okay. So that's where we're going to have to parse that out and see who those have gone for.
They have to hand count those, Tom?
I'm not sure if I think so, but I'd hate to say it definitively. But we're going to go to the second largest ward in the city. This is big. This is Godnick Center, Ward 1. For the mayor, Mike Dunges, 483 votes. Henry Heck, 322 votes. Again, for the mayor of the city of Rutland, the current mayor, Mike Dunges, in Ward 1, the second largest ward in the city, Godnick Center, receiving 483 votes. with Henry Heck receiving 322 votes, and then 4 write-in candidates. And we'll go right to the Board of Aldermen in Ward 1. Alex Adams, again, alphabetical order here, 334 votes. Alex Adams, 334 votes. David Allaire, 434 votes. Jeffrey Bruce, 251 votes. Paul Clifford, 368 votes. Larry Coopely, 343 votes. Tom Donahue, 425 votes. Kurt Esposito, 172 votes. William Billy Gillum Jr., 367 votes. Gina Grove, 288 votes. John McCann, 326 votes. Kiana McClure, 397 votes. And Carrie Savage, 331 votes. So again, I'm just going to run right through those again. So we have them in order again. This is Ward 1. This is the Godnick Center, and it's the second largest ward in the city. Alex Adams, 334. David Allaire, 434. Jeffrey Bruce, 251. Paul Clifford, 368. Larry Coopely, 343. Tom Donahue, 425. Kurt Esposito, 172. William Billy Gillum Jr., 367. Gina Grove, 288. John McCann, 326. Kiana McClure, 397. And Carrie Savage, 331. Going right on to the next ward, American Legion, Ward 3. Mayor Mike Dunges, 366 votes in the American Legion, Ward 3. Mike Dunges, current mayor of Rutland, 366 votes at the Ward 3 American Legion, followed by Henry Heck at 321 votes. Henry Heck, 321 votes. So Mike Dunges, 366, Henry Heck, 321. This is Ward 3. And again, these are all unofficial tallies. We believe them to be quite accurate. They come from the clerks, but everything's unofficial until they're certified, of course. But we feel that the accuracy is pretty good here at PEG TV. Let's go on to the Board of Aldermen. Again, alphabetical order. Alex Adams, 249 votes. David Allaire, 384 votes. Jeffrey Bruce, 195 votes. Paul Clifford, 338 votes. Larry Coopely, 327 votes. Tom Donahue, 340 votes. Kurt Esposito, 188 votes. William Billy Gillum Jr., 299 votes. Gina Grove, 207 votes. John McCann, 236 votes. Kiana McClure, 298 votes. Carrie Savage, 249 votes. And I'm going to go right back to the top again with Alex Adams, and again, repeat, Ward 3, this is the American Legion. And Alex Adams received 249 votes. David Allaire, 384 votes. Jeffrey Bruce, 195 votes. Paul Clifford, 338 votes. Larry Coopely, 327 votes. Tom Donahue, 340 votes. Kurt Esposito, 188 votes. William Billy Gillum Jr., 299 votes. Gina Grove, 277 votes. John McCann, 236 votes. Kiana McClure, 298 votes. Carrie Savage with 249 votes. So that's it for those 3 wards. First of all, for mayor and for the Board of Aldermen. Let's go right to the school commissioners, which I think is important to read off. Did I do that for Ward 1? Let me back up because I'm not sure if I said. So I'm going to go back for 1 second to Ward 1 just to make sure I did the school board, which is Karen Bossy with 328 votes. Sarah Dunges, 358 votes. Mary Beth Lennox Lewis, 409 votes. Christina Sweet, 396 votes. Lauren Weiss, 348 votes. And Courtney Collins Whitcomb, 295 votes. And then for the school commissioner one-year term, there's 146 write-ins. So we're going to have some definition there later about those 2 candidates primarily, probably. But real quick, Karen Bossy, 328 votes. This is Ward 1. Sarah Dunges, 358 votes. Mary Beth Lennox Lewis, 409 votes. Christina Sweet, 396 votes. Lauren Weiss, 348 votes, and Courtney Collins Whitcomb, 295 votes. Again, that's Ward 1. Now we'll get right to the commissioners for school for Ward 3. Karen Bossi, 302 votes. Sarah Dunges, again, this is American Legion. Sarah Dunges, 267 votes. Mary Beth Lennox Lewis, 285 votes. Christina Sweet, 305 votes. Lauren Weiss, 235 votes. Courtney Collins Whitcomb, 210 votes. And then in the write-in campaign, 129 votes. So again, going back to Ward 3, Karen Bossi, 302. Sarah Dunges, 267. Mary Beth Lennox Lewis, 285. Christina Sweet, 305. Lauren Weiss, 235, and Courtney Collins Whitcomb, 210. So that's the school board candidates. I did want to quickly get to some of the budget articles just to talk about, the municipal budget, as we mentioned, Greg, and also the, which is Article 1. And in Ward 3, that passes significantly, 426 yes to 236 no. That's Ward 3. Article 1, which would be the municipal budget, and then Article 2, which is the school board budget, again, a significantly passing there, 430 votes in Article 2, the school budget, to 247 no. So yes, 430, no, 247. Quickly going over to Ward 1, Article 1, municipal budget passes significantly, 548 to 237, and Article 2 passes significantly, 536 to 266. So without even looking at the other wards, I can tell you right now that both the municipal budget and the school budget have both passed by significant margins. Let's just jump over to Ward 4, sorry. Yes votes on the municipal budget, 611 to 385 no. Wow. And then Article 2, which is the school budget, passing again significantly, 610 yes to 393 no. So both municipal budgets are, without a doubt, passed. Let's get right on to the last ward, the largest ward in the city of Rutland. And congratulations to, unofficially, again, to Mike Dunges. He continues his ability to be, for the next 2 more years, the mayor of the city of Rutland. So Mike Dunges has won for the city of Rutland, mayor of the city. This is now the largest ward in the city, Christ the King, Ward 2, coming in with 692 votes for Mike Dunges, with Henry Heck receiving 464. Mike Dunges, again, 692. Henry Heck, 464. So a clean sweep in all 4 wards for Mike Dunges, who is now, again, going to be the mayor of Rutland for the next 2 years. I want to get to the alderman next, and then on to the school board. Again, alphabetical order. This is the last ward we're reporting so far on this, with Ward 2, which is Christ the King, and the largest ward in the city at this point, population-wise. Alex Adams with 427 votes. David Allaire with 660 votes. Jeffrey Bruce with 304 votes. Paul Clifford with 575 votes. Larry Coopely with 653 votes. Tom Donahue with 657 votes. Kurt Esposito with 259 votes. William Billy Gillum, 517 votes. Gina Grove with 331 votes. John McCann with 391 votes. Kiana McClure with 511 votes. And Kerry Savage with 465 votes. So we're just going to go right back to that real quick and then on to the school board. This is, again, Ward 2, Christ the King, the largest ward in the city. Alphabetical order, Alex Adams, 427. David Allaire, 660. Jeffrey Bruce, 304. Paul Clifford, 575. Larry Coopely, 653. Tom Donahue, 657. Kurt Esposito, 259. William Billy Gillum Jr., 517. Gina Grove, 331. John McCann, 391. Kiana McClure, 511. And Kerry Savage with 461 votes. And that's Ward 2 in the city of Rutland, Christ the King School. On to the school board, the school commissioners' 3-year term. I will say for the 1-year term, write-in candidates, 170 votes. So there will definitely be, I think, probably one of those 2 that campaigned for it will be named tonight, but a pretty impressive number of write-in votes. for that one-year term, 170. Which is great that there became contested, so you actually got some interest in that race, which is fantastic. Getting on to the school board in alphabetical order, Karen Bossy, 525 votes. Sarah Dunges, 477 votes. Mary Beth Lennox Lewis, 587 votes. Christina Sweet, 557 votes. Lauren Weiss, 455 votes. And Courtney Collins Whitcomb, 465 votes. And then 79 write-in votes, which is interesting. That's a lot of write-ins. There are spaces for write-ins on each, as you know. So there's 6 people contesting 4 seats available, but there's also several slots to write in that equal number of people in case you didn't want anybody on the slate. And so let's go back to that one more time so that you can take your notes. Karen Bossy, 525 votes. Sarah Dunges, 477. Mary Beth Lennox Lewis, 587. Christina Sweet, 557. Lauren Weiss with 455. Courtney Collins Whitcomb with 465. And then 79 write-in votes. So that's your Ward 2 Christ the King School commissioners for a 3-year term. Getting on to, as I mentioned, the budget articles, again, Ward 2, overwhelming number in support of the municipal budget, 724 votes to yes, I should say, to 414 no. 724 yes, 414 no. That's the municipal budget. So at this point, Greg, the municipal budget is passed. So Mayor Mike Dunges continues to be Mayor Mike Dunges for 2 more years and starts out his term with an approved municipal budget. Article 2, which is the school budget, again, a significant margin in favor. Yes, 720 votes, and no, 440. So a clean sweep for the budget articles here in the city of Rutland. And then one I just wanted to highlight here that I found of interest in is Article 2 and the charter articles, and that one had to do with basically sort of carving out an equipment replacement fund for the Rutland City Police Department, which I think was very important.
Very important.
And that passed in Ward 2 to start with, 670 votes yes to 430 votes no. Let's take a look at what that looks like in the other wards.
Can I I don't want to steal Gail's thunder, but I just got to say congratulations, Mr. Alderman-elect.
Thank you, elect, right? That's right. Yeah.
So I think there were some pretty interesting numbers. Mayor Dunges, people are liking what he's doing.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of energy in that administration. I think Henry did some good things. Fortunately, he got caught up in a little problem. I believe he does support law enforcement 100%. And and then the aldermen. They were going to see some new aldermen, including yourself. Congratulations again. And it looks like the young alderman, Miss Kiana McClure, is going to hang on to a seat. It's going to be interesting to see where Adams and McCann, all come in here.
Yeah, and I need somebody to tally these all for me because I hesitate to do it because there'll be a couple that could be very close, and I don't want to bring any misinformation at this point. But they are tallying it in the other room, and we'll take a look at it.
And the school board too, because it looks like from the numbers you were reading, Tom, that Miss Whitcomb is probably not going back to the school board. But I know we can't say that, but by listening to the numbers, it was sounded like she was out, and I supported Courtney. I've known her since she was a little girl, and she's a wonderful person. Wonderful person.
And I congratulate all the candidates. Win or lose, as far as the ballot goes. The voters of the city of Rutland, I think, really appreciate all of the people that run and the fact that they're willing to run. And they're passionate about Rutland, and that's why they're willing to put their name on a ballot when it's a very difficult thing to do these days with social media and other things. It's more and more difficult to convince yourself. And so I applaud everyone who's run on this ballot, no matter what your results are tonight. I applaud each and every one of you.
And another thing that stood out to me is Dave Allaire got some big votes in all 4 districts, wards. And
former mayor of Rutland.
Yeah, the former mayor. And and that's interesting. That's going to be interesting to see what he's going to do in the next 2 years.
Right, absolutely. No, I think it'll be a great 2 years, regardless. And we've got Lennox. Oh, so I was mispronouncing, and our great staff here, and I think it was because of the boxer. I don't know.
Lennox Lewis, yeah.
So my apologies to Mary Beth. It is Lennox Levens.
Right.
And by the way, there is no live broadcast where I don't mess up at least one name. So Mary Beth, thank you for allowing me to do that on your name, but I apologize. It is Mary Beth Lennox Levens.
She was a good boxer back in the day, I hear.
Levens, you know.
She's a nice person.
And so there it is. I got that one out of the way, but appreciate the note from the PEG TV staff who's making sure I get it right.
Yeah.
Mary Beth Lennox Levens, and thank you.
She did pretty good in the vote count, too, listening to you.
Yeah, so again, I don't want to try to tally these live on TV. We'll wait for the PEG TV staff to do that. But I did want to get back real quick to the bond articles because I did want to see where we stood with that one on the police department, which is Article 2, again, passing in Ward 4. Those are the two biggest wards, or two was with 720 yes and 440 no. In Ward 4, 599 yes, 356 no. And again, this is the one which it was about this long, if you remember, and I know people suffered through it, to be frank with you. But the important thing is that it was line-iting out. It was the way the charter is written now and adding some language at the very bottom, number 10, I think it was, a little section at the bottom, which indicated that it would have its own sort of portion of the tax rate that goes towards equipment replacement for the police department, which is currently mixed with the Department of Public Works and the Recreation Department.
Yeah.
Fire department has theirs own carved out. Now the police department will have theirs own carved out as well. So I think that's very important.
They need good equipment to operate.
Yeah, 536 yes to 266 no in Ward 1, and Ward 3, 430 yes to 247 no. So that was approved as well.
Yep.
Great job for those that prepared that budget article, and I appreciate the voters supporting the police department on that. I think that was very important. And I just want to kind of scan ahead to see what other particular charter articles there were that might have been anything of particular interest. So let me pull that out. I have it right here. Yes, there is one I want to highlight, and again, giving maybe some teeth to the Rutland City Police Department, Article 3, so followed by Article 2, which identified some funding carved out sort of for equipment replacement for Rutland City Police Department, is followed by Article 3, which it's short enough, so I'll read it real quick. But shall the voters amend the City of Rutland Charter to change the following subchapter 5, 953, violation of ordinances, and additions underlined. They have deletions in the strike through, but it says the Board of Aldermen may provide penalties for the violation of any ordinance, regulation, or bylaw. In no case shall the penalty exceed, and they take off the part that it exceeds, the penalty it exceeds on any ordinance, regulation, or bylaw. The penalty shall not exceed, it said, imprisonment for 1 year or a fine of $500 or both per violation. Now that is lined out, and Article 3, I'm just going to see if it looks like it passed. Yeah, it looks like Article 3 is also passing pretty handily by the voters. It says the maximum penalty allowed under the state statute 24 VSA 1974. So that'll give some more clout to the enforcement of those violations. So that was an important one as well. And just by looking at that one, it looks like it passed pretty handily. And I'll look at one other. Yeah, so that Article number 3 also passed, and I was very much in favor of that.
Tom Leopold, our executive director, just handed that for you.
Oh, okay. So in addition to having Shrove Tuesday pancakes over here from Mother Sarah Ginolfi over at Trinity Episcopal Church,
nice.
Along with Christina Sweet, we also have a Paulet Kids Vote, which we'll read off real quick, because they had, in the town of Paulet, what kind of activity do you do in your spare time at home? And basically, it started out with hiking as a pretty big one, 6, drawing and painting, 4, sports, 7, good, reading, 6, that's good. Well, they're all right up there. Building, 7, Writing 2, okay, we got to work on the writing. Napping, here you go, Jen. Napping 3. Play with animals 8. Making music 7. Wow, that's interesting.
Nice.
Watching a favorite show, 9, of course. Watching a favorite show beats everything else. Sports, drawing, painting, hiking, building, writing, napping, playing with animals. And baking 5. Gardening 1. We got to work on that. And farming 3. So this is by Deb Hawkins, signed officially, the municipal clerk. Keep smiling, find joy in each day, and always be kind and respectful to one another. There's some good advice for the town of Pollitt.
We're going to send Gail and Tammy down there to
We're going to work on
get them off the couch.
Yeah, we're going to work on gardening.
Yep.
But only 3 napping, so that's pretty good. They're not napping. They've got, they're active over there in
And
Pollitt.
thank you to the children for doing that. That's great
that's
stuff.
fantastic.
Getting
Yes,
the
it
kids
is.
involved.
Yes, it is. So let's go on to some more. We don't have any other towns in yet, so we're going to stick with the city. And we've kind of gone over the mayor. And I wanted to mention Mary Markowski, our city treasurer, ran unopposed. I think Mary does a really great job. And congratulations to her. The voters re-elect you tonight regardless. Technically, it is write-in. And if they really didn't like you, I suppose you could write in a candidate. But Mary was actually out there campaigning today, which I thought was great because,
Yeah, she's working the polls.
Yeah, she was showing her interest. And I think that's
And
great for Mary.
Kate Langlois, our...
Katie Burke-Langlois, yes, she was out there as well, and she was unopposed for city assessor. So both were verified in re-election tonight. 2-year terms. 2-year terms. And I work with also Katie Burke-Langlois as I'm a member of I'm a justice of the peace for Rutland City and work on the Board of Civil Authority. We do tax appeals, and Katie's done representing the city when the assessor and the appellant, which is a property owner, disagree.
Right.
They have the right to come to the Board of Civil Authority, and then we hear their case, if you will, and go visit their property and so forth, and we make our own decision on that.
I did a bunch of those when
and
I was...
she's kept those to a minimum, partly because she's able to work it out with
Yeah,
the
that's
property owners, which is great.
When I was on the city council, we did a lot of those hearings and got to go out and visit properties under Barry Keefe.
Right.
So,
right.
yeah.
Yep. Did
You
many under Barry. Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Barry
worked
had a
hard.
lot of them.
He worked hard at that job. There's no question about it. He worked very hard at that job. The late Barry Keefe, great man.
27 years?
Gosh, well, you're out testing me tonight.
Yeah. It's up there.
So let's go to a couple more of these city. I guess we could just run through, just to give an example to folks of the ballot questions, just to see how, just to give people a flavor. Let's start, we'll do Ward 2 because it is the largest, and just say how things went for. So the Broad Community Action, Article 1, 695 yes, 370 no. Article 2 is ARC, Rutland area, 670 yes, 430 no. Vermont Center for Independent Living, Article 3 is 713 yes and 381 no. Article 4 is, of course, Rutland area hospice, and that is 750. Wait a minute, this is Article 4. Stand by. Let's see, there we are. Make sure I have this in the right order. 4, 5, and 6. This should be the right page now I'm on. Is 887 yes to 275 no. Article 5 would be RSVP, one-on-one, and so forth. 774 votes yes and 354 votes no. And then Rutland Mental Health, that would be Article, did I do 6? No, Article 6 is Marble Valley Regional Transit District, affectionately known around here as the bus. 677 votes to 466 no. Article 7 is Rutland Mental Health, and that's 736 votes yes, 394 votes no. Then on to New Story Center, one near and dear to me. Article 8, 788 votes and 349 votes no. So that is passed handily in Ward 2. And then we have Rutland County Health Partners, which is formerly the Rutland County Free Clinic, for those that don't know. And that is Article 9, and that passed 679 votes to 499 votes. Then Vermont Adult Learning, 753 yes, 383 no. Boys and Girls Club, 750 yes, it's 383 no. And last but not least on this group here, and then I'll turn the page, is Regional Ambulance Service, 795 yes to 348 no. Article 13, 700, which is Mentor Connector, 716 yes to 416 no. And last but not least, Wonder Feet Kids Museum. I know a lot of people want to know this one. 691 yes to 456 no. And that is in the town of, well, city of Rutland, I should say, but the voting ward 2, Christ the King, the largest ward in the city. So it looks like, if that's consistent with the rest, that all of the money articles, if you will, the social service agencies and so forth, appear to have passed in the city of Rutland as well. So we have more guests.
I think they're kicking me out.
Yes, it looks like we're gonna let you go party somewhere, Greg. There.
Oh, I'm going home to bed.
Yeah,
Tom, thank you and congratulations.
Great, absolutely.
Look
Thank you
forward to
very
seeing
much.
you
Yeah,
back
thank
there.
you, Greg. Appreciate
All right,
you coming
kid.
on and helping me fill in the gaps here.
Mayor?
So let me invite on the program next our newly reelected Mayor, Mike Dunges. Welcome, Mike, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Congratulations
yeah,
to you.
Thank you.
Congratulations to you as well.
I guess you have to work with me now. So.
I've been working with you for years.
Yes, you
I
have.
like it.
Yes,
So
you
it's a
have.
good place to start.
I say that fondly.
I like the tie.
But I
It's a
ordered
really
this
nice
just
tie.
for tonight.
That's
I just want you to know.
perfect. That's
So I just, first of all, really, really appreciate you coming on. You came on when you were first elected. I asked you to come on again.
You have some glitter.
Oh, so it looks like yep, so.
One more.
Thanks,
We've already, somebody pulled one of those cork things where the glitter goes all over. And
Yes,
so
my wife dumped it on my head.
Sarah, I don't doubt it for a second, Sarah. So, but anyway, a couple of things, Mayor. One is, of course, your reelection, and it was a significant, looks to be a pretty significant margin. But
Yeah.
number two is your municipal budget.
Yeah.
So talk to me about that a little bit.
We fought really hard this year to get the budget to a level that would be acceptable for all voters. And I think we did a great job. It's very clear in the results that people were happy to see that the budget was up under 3%. And it's so important. When COVID hit, the talk was it's going to take 10, 15 years to fully recover. And we are not quite halfway through that
Yeah,
10-year mark,
that's
right?
right.
And so people are still feeling the pains and the effects and all the trickle-down issues that came from all of that inflation that happened, all of the
Right.
investment that happened. And
Absolutely right.
And we're still seeing it. We're still seeing it today.
That's right.
So I think that we at the board took real effort into finding a way to get that budget down with my encouragement below 3%. And I think we did a good job, and I think the voters were very supportive of that.
That's very difficult. I believe it was around 2.8%.
It was 2.8%, yeah.
Yeah, and that's hard work. So
It was hard work.
Congratulations. It
Thank
was
you.
clearly recognized by the voters. I'm looking at the budget articles, and it was actually a significant margins
Yeah.
voting for the municipal budget. And while we're on the topic, I would appreciate your opinion on. And it looks like the school budget also passed by a pretty significant margin. in
Yeah,
favor.
school budget passed as well.
And of course, Sarah. We'll talk about Sarah a little bit.
Yeah,
too.
so my wife also is going to remain on the school board, and they've been putting such great work into trying to find ways to make their budgets work, keep Rutland in a fiscally responsible operating budget, and also they've got a teachers union contract that they're working so hard on to complete right now, and we want to support our teachers, and I know that I'll let the school board speak for themselves, but I know that supporting our teachers and supporting the teachers union as well as the other unions is really important. But it's the same thing like we saw with police and fire and DPW. It's all about how do we balance affordability, because they're feeling the same pressures we just talked about. Affordability on the front end and affordability on the back end. So we've worked really hard to do that on the city side, and I think the school they'll get the opportunity to continue to do that because we saw a few names get to stay on that school board.
And I hear your little horse, and I know that you've been campaigning a lot, Mayor. So
I haven't. I was outside all day, and it was cold today. I saw you out at the polls multiple times. and,
absolutely, yeah. You got
So-
you want it, you got to earn it.
But it's been a good lot of effort.
Yeah, so I just want to look at these numbers real quick, and so actually, why don't I just ask you one more question while I do take a quick look at that, and that is what you were, and obviously you put together a platform and you campaigned on that,
Yeah.
but also I was just curious, I always ask our guests, what were you hearing when you were out there?
You know, the campaign and what we were hearing were very similar. Affordability, public safety, and growth, right? I had run initially on a growth and change campaign in my previous 2 years, and affordability and public safety became two major issues that I needed to be aware of. Not that affordability wasn't always there. The growth campaign is specifically to make Rutland more affordable. So when we get to keep those three things in play, and we get to listen to what's going on in Rutland, and we react accordingly over that 2-year period, that's what the campaign became, Tom,
Right.
became this direct reflection of what Rutland was asking for. And when we take that information and we apply it to how we do business in the city, I think it reflects well when people vote yes on the budget, they vote yes for the same mayor. They're saying, we think you're hearing us and we want to move forward in that direction with what you've been doing.
Right, exactly. And, you referenced before aptly, people are still feeling budgets that are strained at home based on, this,
Yeah.
I don't know, COVID hangover.
Yeah.
It's just, everybody thought when the pandemic, not everybody, I shouldn't say that. I think that the school of thought when the pandemic was over, everything would just recover and get better. But it's been difficult for people.
Yeah, you look at history, and I'm not an economist, but you look at history, and we have these, we have the peaks and the valleys, and Rutland's always been good about, as the rest of the country or the world, climbs up these high peaks and drops down into these low valleys. Mm-hmm. Rutland kind of takes a much smoother approach, and I think it still is that way today. We don't have
Vermont a little bit does too, don't we?
Vermont does too, and we don't have these big sweeping changes, and there's good reason for that. But again, what we're seeing right now is we need to continue growing. We need to continue growing at a Rutland pace. The only way, I say it all the time, I know I'm a broken record. The city of Rutland is built for 30,000 people, right? And we run it with 15,000.
I have heard you say that.
A couple of times. And in order to get to a point where our city is naturally affordable, where we're not cutting the things that people also want, right? Because we already run on a very tight, very efficient budget. So to get to a point where we're already doing the right, where we're able to do what we need to without it being expensive, we need to grow. In the meantime, we need to get creative about how we reduce those costs. We did that with the Capital Reserve Fund and the Capital Improvement Plan and the 1% option tax, right? We've done that. We've also got this TIF district going in. We just met with VEPSI the other day. It was an amazing meeting. Vermont Economic Progress Council, they're the ones who are going to help approve and pass the TIF. And those tools will actually make it more affordable on the property taxpayer every single day. So those messages are being heard loud and clear, and we're working on that.
You also had some charter items on that were charter changes, if you will, that were approved tonight. One was sort of setting up sort of a kind of an independent capital improvement program, vehicle replacement, I think is, or I think it's more than just vehicles.
The language was confusing.
But it was built in with Rec, DPW, and police. Fire had their own.
Right.
And what you've designed here that was approved tonight would be that the police would have their own.
That's right.
Is that right?
So we split police off from Rec and DPW.
Very good.
And then increased fire a little bit. And that's because the cost of police vehicles has quadrupled. So you used to be able to buy a fully loaded police car for $23,000, and now it's $85,000.
Okay, I had no idea.
It's absolutely insane how expensive they've gotten.
Okay. Yeah.
And
then there's other equipment,
fire
obviously.
trucks and other equipment. So with that, I'm glad to hear that passed. I didn't get to hear the total.
Yeah, very significantly. The other one was, of course, taking away sort of a stated maximum penalty for ordinances and violations that now will tie that to the state statute.
That's correct.
Which also doesn't limit.
We are still limited by the state. The problem is there are so many little things in the Rutland City Charter. Like another one was how much our purchasing limits are. Right?
Oh, yes. Yeah. And I was going to look that up.
And I don't know how that resulted either, but these are little things that are embedded in our charter that other municipalities throughout the state in cleaner charters, they reference policies and they reference back to the state. So it's just clean up charter work. It's stuff that needs to get done so that we aren't held back by something that was put in place 25 years ago when it no longer is applicable, right? The state has taken the maximum municipal fines that we can give from, $500 to $800 or 1250 or whatever it happens to be.
Right.
As that continues to move with the state, we just want to move with the state. That's
Right.
all. We're not saying we want to go above and beyond.
Right.
We just want to move with that maximum.
Right, yeah, and then that did pass. The other one was, I can look up, but that was, you were asking about was the, gotta flip this over here.
Yeah.
And that was on purchasing. Yep,
Yeah.
so that would be Charter Article 1. And let's just pick a ward here. We'll go with Ward 2 because it's the biggest. And just say how you did on that.
So much data.
Yeah. Well, there was a lot on the ballot, and people did a lot of reading. I give people credit because they were patient. So this budget article, bond article, charter article, so number 1. And that, for instance, Ward 2, largest ward in the city, 695 yes to 370 no. So
And-
that passed.
Yeah, and that just gives us the flexibility to set the purchasing limit at a higher rate. And we do that through policy and change, and the board will approve those things. So
Yeah, same thing in Ward 3 and
Great.
so forth. So I think that one's, yeah.
awesome.
So good, yeah.
Yeah, very good.
Sounds like you got your homework accomplished too.
We did a
And
lot of work.
municipal budget, and you got yourself reelected.
A lot of good effort going in, and the board's going to look a little bit different in a couple of weeks, and I'm looking forward to working with everybody that's been newly elected. I do have a limited time. I'm going to have to go. I've got to
Yeah,
get back to a.
And I do just want to point out again, and as we said at the very beginning, these are unofficial results, and we're just going to make sure that, it does have to be validated, and so these are unofficial results, and we just want to make sure we say that over and over, because, we're community access television.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, Mayor.
I
Yeah,
appreciate
thank
it,
you.
Tom.
Congratulations again.
And congratulations to all those who did well tonight.
Right,
and,
absolutely.
Look forward to working with them in the future here.
All right. Thank you again.
Thank you.
We also have Kiana McClure, who is a city alderman currently and was up for re-election. And again, unofficial results would have her being re-elected tonight. So we think she's re-elected unofficially. And so here's Kiana McClure.
Thank you, Tom.
Welcome, Kiana. Yeah, and congratulations,
Congratulations.
we think. Yeah.
Thank you, and
again,
congratulations to you as well
I'm
for a
always-
successful campaign.
I'm always so hesitant when we have unofficial results, but we
Right.
think.
We think.
That we
Fingers crossed, we think.
Yeah.
So,
But let me ask you the same question that I asked the mayor. I always love to ask all the candidates. So what you were hearing on the campaign trail, and you were out there a lot, and you talked to a lot of people.
I did.
What would you hear some primary themes and so forth while you're campaigning?
the primary theme that I heard was safety, honestly.
Okay.
A lot of people are really concerned about safety in their community at all different levels.
Yeah.
And I think due to the fact that I've worked very closely with Rutland City Police over the last 2 years in my position as co-chair with Project Vision,
yeah.
people are very receptive to my thoughts. I love my job, and I guess people said I can keep doing it, which is amazing.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I'm just so incredibly grateful. I'm sorry my answers are not more eloquent. I'm just
No.
Just-
It's perfect. So, so that's great. And so you did talk to a lot of people, obviously, and the mayor was saying also during his campaign quite a bit, talking about affordability. And we talked when he first came on for a minute about the fact that COVID, there expected to be this COVID recovery, and that Vermont is always a little behind the curve. It works both ways. We're behind the curve on the bad part, and we're behind the curve on the recovery part too, it seems. But that is also something that I hear a lot about, just people's budgets being strained by the price of, we're sick of talking about it, but it's
Yeah.
true. You go to the grocery store and it's expensive. And I love our grocery stores, so there's no shade to them whatsoever. It's not their fault.
Right.
But we're all paying more everywhere. And it's, even though fuel prices have been down, for example, this winter, which I shouldn't say down, but they've been, leveled off. It's, pretty predictable right now. But the winter's been cold. And so
Yes.
that's created a little issue for people too, because they've had to spend more on heat, more on electric, and so forth. And so affordability becomes an issue when they talk about city budgets and so forth. But you guys all passed a budget to go on to the ballot, both municipal and school, and both of them passed by wide margins.
which is amazing. I'm just so grateful to the voters of Rutland City who trusted the current board, trusted the work we've done, trusted the conversations that we've had in committee. There's been quite a bit of talk about, again, going back to safety, and safety comes at a cost. And we need to make sure that we are budgeting for the cost of keeping people safe.
That's exactly
It's
right.
unfortunate to see the price tags of so many other things rise. Myself being a renter, I don't necessarily see the tax bill, but I see a one-bedroom apartment for almost $1,700 a month with nothing included.
Boy, you said a mouthful there. That's
So-
exactly right. And that, so again, there is another strain on family budgets. If they're renting,
Exactly.
it's very, very expensive. And I think 45% of people in Rutland rent, according to the Rutland City Planning Commission. Or
That is
Rutland,
correct.
Rutland Regional Planning Commission, sorry.
That is correct.
And their city statistics. So yeah, so that is significant, and I appreciate you pointing that out. I also wasn't really paying attention to, for instance, it was very good that I think that the charter change passed for carving out a replacement fund for the police department. I actually was, very big on saying yes to that. I'm excited for them because I think that's the right thing to do. Until the mayor just told me what a cruiser costs now versus then, I had no idea it was quite that much. So
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, all
But-
that equipment, everything
Yeah,
that goes in it, that's
yep.
more and more on that price tag.
Right. But to your point, you've got to be able to look at public safety as an investment
Exactly.
for our future. So, so I was very pleased about that. And then the other that had passed was sort of taking away that maximum on violations and enforcements on our ordinance, so that it's in lockstep sort of with the state statute.
Exactly.
I mean, it seems like the voters were quite savvy. It appears that they really studied and knew what they were voting for, and were pretty affirmative with the ballot that the municipal leaders put out.
Yeah, I can't even begin to say how grateful I am to the people of Rutland. Grateful.
Well, say it right to that
perfect.
camera number 4. How about
Camera
that?
number 4, you got it. All right, camera number 4. Thank you so much to all of the Rutland City voters, all Rutland City residents. I am so incredibly grateful for your support, for your vote of confidence, and not just in me, but in our municipal budget, in our charter changes. I just can't even begin to say thank you enough times. I am the youngest person sitting on the Board of Aldermen once again. Not to toot my own horn, but we just made history tonight, people. I am the youngest person to ever be reelected to the Board of Aldermen. This is wild. It's crazy. Thank you all so much.
And it's so funny you say that, because I might have been the youngest once back in the day, and then was reelected and then became board president. And now you've trumped that, being even younger than I was. So, but Kevin Mullen, I want to give credit to Senator Kevin Mullen, emeritus, of course, who actually broke that mold before I went on the board. So he was the pioneer.
Awesome. Awesome.
And then,
awesome.
and I followed him in, and then it began to change, in that respect. And I think that's great, because balance on the board is just awesome and critical. In fact, I
Definitely.
saw, I'll tell you a neat story. I saw a fellow, I'll say who it is, he wouldn't mind, I don't think, David Zito, former Rutland City Alderman, did a great job. Employee at Green Mountain Power, well respected in the community. When I was first elected to the board, and I didn't want to sit back, I got on a whole bunch of committees right off the bat. I served on 8 altogether, chair, charter, and ordinance. I was, but point is, when I'd make a motion, people would kind of look at me like, well, I don't know, jury's out on this guy.
Yep.
And then David Zito, who I saw today at the poll, so it was so cool to see him, was a little more of an elder statesman, and he often had a lot of credibility and would second my motions. And when he did, then the rest would pay attention, like, well, if Zito seconded it, it must be okay.
Right. No,
So, I always appreciated that about David, because he had the confidence in me as the new guy on the board at that time. But by the same token, just the fact that I would just coincidentally run into him today.
Love it.
Just felt good. It felt right,
Right.
It was pretty cool.
I feel just so much overwhelming gratitude to the young women who came before me and have served in this role, being young women on the board. Specifically thinking of currently serving Alderwoman Anna Taddeo, because Anna has been a huge inspiration to me throughout the entirety of my political career. You are an amazing friend and you are an amazing colleague, Anna, and I'm so grateful for you. And then the other big piece of gratitude is to Vanessa Robertson. When she ran at
Oh, yes.
21, 21.
Right,
She
right.
was a huge
I'd almost
inspiration
forgot
for
about
me.
Vanessa.
Can't forget about her. She
Right.
made history. She is the youngest
Right.
person to ever serve. And man,
Okay.
she really took that title from me. But I've got you on the youngest person to ever be reelected.
Reelected, there you go.
So-
Yeah, you got it. I
But
love
it's
it.
just, there's just so much overwhelming gratitude to the older board members who have come before me, who have shown me,
Absolutely.
Robert's rules, shown me how
Sure.
to lead,
Right.
taught me how to listen.
Right,
And that was
yeah.
such a big part over the last 2 years,
Yeah.
is learning how to listen. I came into this position with a lot of confidence. Some might say I was a little cocky. Looking back, I could say that I was a little cocky.
Okay.
But I've really learned how to put what my perception is to the side, to be able
Sure.
to listen to other people
Right.
and get their perspective
Sure.
and compare and contrast that with my own.
Sure, yeah,
And-
and then you achieve that balance. Yeah,
Exactly.
in your opinion, yeah, that's great.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a great way to do it, and it really works. Yeah, people value that.
Thank you.
So, well done,
And
absolutely.
while I'm here at the table, I have to look at camera 4 one last time. I want to say thank you to my entire family,
Oh, yeah.
however many of us there are. I know there's countless. To my dad, to my mom, to my stepmom, to my stepdad, to my sisters, to all of my siblings, all of my cousins, all of my friends who have become family. Thank you guys so much. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for all of you, your continued support, both in person and on social media. Thank you guys. I love this job. I want to keep doing it.
And without a doubt, you'll continue as the co-chair of
Absolutely.
Project Vision.
Absolutely. I gave that statement earlier this month, or
Yes.
last month now,
Right.
actually, at our last meeting.
Win or lose, you're going to stand as co-chair.
Exactly.
So, there you
Don't
go.
worry, everybody. You're
Excellent.
not getting rid of me. So, but thank you so much, Tom.
Yeah, absolutely, and I appreciate you coming on. And
Thank you
now,
for having me.
off to celebrate somewhere? Or?
Honestly, I'm going to go hang out with my folks. So I'm
There
going to
you
go
go.
hang out with the fam.
There you go. Well,
But thank
nice
you
of you to thank them on the air because,
course.
let's face it, they're all behind us. I had my brother out there today, my sister out there today, my
Love
older
it.
brother, my older sister. Family is paramount, isn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely important. So,
Awesome.
well, fantastic. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Congratulations. And
Thank
really
you.
appreciate you coming on our live election night coverage.
Thank you for having me. Good night,
Talk to you soon,
everybody.
Kiana. Hey, thanks. And we're going to go right to some results from other towns in the county. So thank you to those clerks. We really, really appreciate you getting these results to us. So we had there was a couple of contested races up in Mendon. So we want to talk about those contested races. Of course, my old classmate, Christopher Corsones, was uncontested for moderator in the town of Mendon and received 283 votes. In select board, you're voting for not more than one for a 3-year term, and Brian Gates was running against Megan Smith, or not against necessarily, but for that one seat, let's just say. Brian Gates received apparently 13 votes, it appears, and Megan Smith 275. Megan Smith 275 to Brian Gates 13. So congratulations apparently go to Megan Smith in the town of Mendon for being elected to a 3-year term on the select board in Mendon. Megan Smith. And then delinquent tax collector is unopposed Nancy Bridge Merrill, 278 votes. Nancy Bridge Merrill, 278 votes. Select board for a 2-year, 2 years to complete a 3-year term. So apparently there was one 3-year term that must have been vacated. You got 2 years left on that 3-year term. Sarah Buxton was running against, along with Carol Gates. And Sarah Buxton wins that handily with 273 votes. 273 votes for Sarah Buxton to Carol Gates' 13 votes. Carol Gates' 13 votes. And again, that's in the town of Mendon for select board, 3-year term, Megan Smith, and 2 years to complete a 3-year term, Sarah Buxton, the winners there in the town of Mendon for the select board. Mount Holly sent us some results. So we're going to look at to see if there's anything contested, and I think there is not. So what I'm going to do is just go to the point of interest, which is their general fund budget request is passed at 253 yes, and this is again Mount Holly, to 66 no. Their highway fund, they call it, passing 269 yes to 50 no. And Article 4, does the town vote $80,000 for the assessment and equipment for the fiscal year 2025 to be raised by tax. So this would be an asset equipment fund, passing 247 yes to 67 no. Again, this is Mount Holly town articles. And then the rest are the, very important here, the volunteer fire department, 250 to yes to 69 no. The library, 214 yes to 103 no. And then there are some social service agencies, but looks like everything passed. So let's leave it at that. There is a unified school district. On this one, there is an allocation from the Ludlow Mount Holly Unified School District to approve the school board to expend $10,153,000 and change. And that is actually, this vote appears to have failed. So there's an interesting turn of events there in Ludlow Mount Holly Unified School District. 141 votes yes, 181 votes no. So that would be what appears to be their allocation for the school budget in the Ludlow Mount Holly Unified Union School District. Budget request of $10,153,000, and that appears to have failed. 181 no against 141 yes. So there's an interesting one. The Technical Center had a $3 million allocation on there, $3,480,000, and that one also failed, but by a much closer margin. The River Valley Technical Center appears to have failed 162 no to 157 yes. 162 no, 154 yes. And again, these are unofficial results, as are all of the results that we're talking about tonight, just to caution everyone again. And so that's the town of Mount Holly. And we also have the town of Wells, which is interesting. Let's see if we have any contested races in Wells, and appreciate again the town clerks, the ward clerks, everybody who worked on this today, and for getting these results to Community Access Television. Just looking for anything that, so there actually was a pretty good race in Wells for Town Select Board. It says vote for not more than one for a 3-year term, and you had 3 people running for that one seat. And it looks like it handily went to Donald R. Pruis with 177 votes. And then you had Dwayne Dunbar with 48 votes and Walton Anderson with 43 votes. So Donald Pruis looks like he has handily secured the Town Select Board 3-year term in the town of Wells in a 3-way race for 1 seat. I'm just looking to see if there's any others that were actual races. Other than that, it was the equal number of openings to the equal number of candidates, so we don't need to get into that too much. But let's look at their town articles real quick. Article 3 is highways. I'm gonna kind of abbreviate. 233 yes to 38 no. Article 4, it looks like utilize non-tax revenue to reduce. So utilizing non-tax revenue to reduce the fiscal year tax commitment, 234 yes to 38 no. Appropriating $20,000 to Lake St. Catherine Conservation Fund, 171 votes yes, 104 no. The Volunteer Fire Department, 225 yes, 51 no. Wells Volunteer Fire Department defraying operating expenses. The first one, by the way, was for a fire truck, 225 yes to 51 no. Now operating expenses and insurance expenses, 236 yes, 41 no. And Lake St. Catherine Association, so the first one is the Conservation Fund that passed. This one's the association, passing 168 to 105. Article 9, Granville Rescue Squad, 251 yes, 26 no. Town of Wells, let's see, the Cemetery Improvement Corporation, 234 yes to 41 no, that's $5,000. And a $3,000 request to our neighbor's table, 204 yes to 71 no. And it goes on like that, so I'm just going to say, and I'm just going to look at the rest of the articles, which goes up to Article 31. I'm going to just let you know if anything appears to have failed. Otherwise, you can assume unofficially that everything appears to have passed, everything. And that's a total of 31 articles passed in
the town of Wells. On to Wallingford, and then we have Clarendon. In Wallingford, I'm just looking again for any races, and seeing none, I'm going to move on to the articles. This one is about scholarships provided under a state statute for the Mill River Unified School District Office 270, yes. So Article 2 in the town of Wallingford, regarding scholarships in the Mill River Unified School District, all those folks there know what I'm talking about. 270 yes to 26 no. And it looks like the town treasurer, this looks like half of the fiscal year. This is for fire protection, taxes paid to the town treasurer, 271 yes to 24 no, and that's Article 3. And then there's Article 4. This is the general operation of the town, 245 yes to 53 no. A reserve fund for the Wallingford Day Reserve Fund, 266 yes, 34 no. A reserve fund for donations and advertisement revenue called Wallingford Standard Newsletter, 274 yes to 24 no. And last but not least, a reserve fund for donations to be called the Boy with the Boot Fund. Oh, near and dear to my heart. The Boy with the Boot Fund, very, very important for expenses associated with the repair and the restoration and the maintenance of the replication of the statue in accordance with the state statute. The Boy in the Boot in Wallingford that was damaged, unfortunately, through some nefarious activity. And this is a reserve fund for donations to be called the Boy in the Boot Fund. I really support this one. 283 yes to 19 no. 283 yes to 19 no. We miss the Boy in the Boot. I know it's wintertime and it's always installed in the spring, but that is historic and critical that be returned at the corner on Route 7 South in the town of Wallingford at their one and only traffic light. By the way, tidbit of interest, our YouTube count has 545 people watching, so thank you all 545 people who are watching us tonight on YouTube. That's fantastic. I got to give credit, and then we're going to talk a little bit about Clarendon here, but I just got to give credit to the great staff at PEG TV that one of the things that they do well here is communicate out this information on a number of different mediums, that not just being Channel 1085, in this case, community access television on Comcast, Xfinity network throughout, but it's also broadcast on their website, and they're making great use of YouTube, so people can view it from other digital type handheld devices and so forth that they might have handy besides the remote on their TV set. 545 people watching on YouTube tonight, so fantastic, and great job PEG TV for taking this to another level, so that this information gets out to the public, again, as unofficial as it is. I can't say that enough tonight. Again, going back now to Clarendon, and again, thank you for the town of Clarendon clerks and ward clerks and everybody who worked on this today, and for taking the time to communicate this information to PEG TV, and the staff that I mentioned earlier that I'll circle back to and thank again. This great staff of 10 people working tonight to bring you this broadcast. But let's go to the tone articles. So this is the government and highway expenditures. Again, these are all passing handily tonight, right across the board, with the exception of that one school budget failing. And I'm going to go back to reference that and make sure I get it right. Because I can come back to that, not Wallingford, Wells. And let's see, we have, well, I may want to come back to that. So it's on the flip side, I think. Yeah, here it is. So with the exception so far of the apparent Ludlow Mount Holly Unified School District budget failing 181 to 141 unofficially, and also the River Valley Technical Center appearing to have failed 162 no to 154 yes. With that exception, everything else tonight pretty uniformly across the board is passing. So I just want to say that out loud, even though these numbers are unofficial. It does appear that things, if you're wondering generally, did it pass or not pass in my town, whether it's any type of one of these articles, and there's dozens, if not hundreds, that we're looking at here tonight in this massive paper that's piling up in front of me. I just realized here on the set that so far, with that one exception of those budgets for the technical center and the school district in Mount Holly, that those are the only two that I've seen of any significance that have failed tonight. Everything else in your towns so far is finding a yes vote by the electorate. So there you go. But just to confirm that, again, Clarendon, just to make it official, appears to have passed their general government and highway expenditure. If you want to know the number, is $1,312,705. That passed 262 to 107. They have a compensation for the select board, $1,800. 286 yes to 88 no. They have $15,000 for the General Bridge Reserve Fund. That passed 270, 103 no. A highway fund surplus for which would be, shall the town deposit such a surplus in the Highway Equipment Reserve Fund? That passed 304 yes to 71 no. And $82,000 to be raised in taxes to support the Clarendon Volunteer Fire Association. These are all very important. 294 yes to 79 no. And then the appropriation of $50,000 in taxes raised for yearly payment to the Clarendon Volunteer Fire Department Association's new truck. And that's, again, passed, 277 yes to 98 no. So you can see the theme here throughout the towns, if you're wondering where your particular ballot item stood, if we may have already read it or haven't got to it. At this point, it appears that virtually everything has passed, so you can start there. Again, $200 for the Vermont Rural Fire Protection Task Force, 264 to 100, 264 yes, 100 no. $648 for the Regional Ambulance Service, 288 yes to 77 no. $5,000 to the Rutland Area Visiting Nurse Association, 280 yes to 82 no. And in the town of Clarendon, establish and maintain a Recreation Committee Reserve Fund, 258 to 106 no. So those all items in the town of Clarendon all passing. So that gives me a second to circle back, if I can, to, where did that one other, so much paper here, I'm starting to put paper on top of paper. Here we are. But I just want to take a moment before we go any farther to again recognize the folks that have put this program together for you tonight, because it's a lot of work, led by our fearless leader and executive director, Tom Leopold here at PEG TV. Then Nancy Donahue, Chelsea Vogel, Rich Elnicki, Jim Botten, Greg McCormick, William Shomaleski, Stephen Wilson, Chris Donahue, and yours truly, Tom Donahue. That's the team tonight putting all this information together and getting this out to you as quickly as we possibly can. And then again, just want to continue to thank the towns that have been providing this information. We're just communicating the numbers that are relayed to us, but we sincerely appreciate you taking the time, the work you put in today, and thank the electorate, all the people in all these towns that turned out to actually vote. Your vote counts and makes a difference. This is your voice, and you get to do this so that we get to report it to you as to how you feel about all these different issues in your towns. And lastly, of course, thank again those candidates that put their names on the ballot, so many in so many towns, and the people that are willing to do the work. I think every town is grateful for them. Now we have just a ballot item in West Rutland. So here we go. And a whole bunch of different topics on their ballot. Started out with this Article 1, $2,300,000 to reduction of by the application of federal and state grants and aid and reserve funds to be issued by the purpose of upgrading the wastewater treatment facility. There we go. I knew we'd get to it. The wastewater treatment facility. In favor of the proposition, 178, this is Article 1 in West Rutland, to 95 no. So 178 yes, 95 no. Article 1 in reference to the purpose of upgrading the wastewater treatment facility. So that passes in the town of West Rutland pretty significantly. I'm going to look and just see whether there's a race. Otherwise, everyone is virtually sort of automatically elected, so we understand that. But this is not more than 2. So in many cases, it says not more than 1. You'll have 1 person running, not more than 2. You'll have 2 people running, so there's no actual contested race, if you want to call it that. And it appears that there was none in West Rutland. You had people running, but 1 for 1 and so on and so forth throughout the ballot. So let's go to the town articles in West Rutland. We start with Article 5, and this is the Select Board's budget for the fiscal year. And it's in the amount of $1,769,841. And that is passes. Article 5 in the town of West Rutland, 179 yes to 83 no. So that passes. That's Article 5 regarding the Select Board's budget for the fiscal year. And again, $1,769,841 to be raised by taxes. Article 6, shall the town appropriate the sum of $200,000 for continuing repaving and sidewalk improvements in the town of West Rutland. So there's a very specific one. I like that. 195 yes to 65 no. So that passes. That's Article 6 in the town of West Rutland. Again, referring to an allocation of $200,000 for continuing repaving and sidewalk improvements. Getting to Article 7, the town appropriates the sum of $400 to RSVP, if you will, 217 yes to 45 no. And I'm just going to go down through Ravna, as it's listed on the ballot, is a yes. Rutland Mental Health is a yes. Cedar, I'm going to read this one a little bit because it's a little bit different. This is the Chamber and Economic Development of the Rutland Region, Cedar. And that was for the purpose of economic development and promotion. And I'm just singling that out because it's a little different. 150 yes to 95 no. So that's $1,000 to Cedar. You have Vermont Adult Learning, 167 yes to 80 no. Brock Community Action, 173 yes to 72 no. We have ARC, the Advocacy Resource and Community Opportunities for Developmentally Disabled Citizens, 194 yes to 51 no. You have Southwestern Vermont Council on Aging, 191 yes to 54 no. Cornerstone Housing Partners, which used to be Housing Trust of Rutland County, with their new name and their merger, 166 yes to 80 no. Town appropriates the sum of $500 to support the neighbor works of Western Vermont, 163 yes to 81 no. And the town appropriates the sum of $1,000 to support the services of the West Rutland Food Shelf, very, very important, 209 yes to 37 no. And MVRTD, the bus, affectionately known as, passes 175 yes to 70 no. And we're getting down to it here. American Red Cross, 194 yes to 52 no. Here's one everyone likes to hear about. The Wonder Feet Kids Museum passes 137 yes to 109 no. It's Wonder Feet Kids Museum, $3,000 from the town of West Rutland. And then, again, New Story Center, very important, 193 yes to 53 no. Pretty significant. And then the Regional Ambulance, of course, important, 205 yes to 43 no. And last but not least, again, this is a different ambulance question. And it looks like in the town of West Rutland shall be exempt from taxation and real estate owned in exclusively by the Regional Ambulance Service for a period not exceeding 10 years. So it's a little different angle on that. Some tax relief, if you will, for property owned, 166 yes to 81 no. And that is the town of West Rutland. Oh, and the person who may or may not have made some pancakes tonight, we will find out. And I think I haven't even looked at these final totals, but I think a new school board member. Let's take a look, and then we'll have a drum roll. And we're taking 4 out of 6, so yes, our new school board member, Christina Sweet, is here with us. Christina, can you come on and that's Mother Sarah over there waving and
That's
ecstatically,
right.
yeah.
I don't call her that, though.
Yeah, but I
Can
do.
you hug?
That's my, absolutely.
Congratulations. I'm excited for you. Yeah, I did not make
So
the pancakes.
I need to
did them
know,
for them.
did Sarah Janolfi make the pancakes?
You didn't make any pancakes, did you? Wasn't it Jim Cruz and...
Who do we want to give?
With kids.
Yeah, she was with kids.
She was, okay. I just want to know, because they were delicious.
They were. I know Jim
Shrove
Cruz was making
Tuesday.
them. Right.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And did you get a lot of community members at the church?
There were quite a few.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, there were a lot of people. There were some
Fantastic.
children running around. It
That's
was
fantastic. I
A
love
very
it.
busy night. But yes, I brought
Well,
some
it's
to
a
you.
very important thing to do. I realize that it's somewhat of a tradition in the pancake version of Shrove Tuesday, and then sort of this celebration of being almost like Christmas, even reflecting on the night before Ash Wednesday in this
Right.
case. Yeah,
Right.
it's a very, very important night, important day tomorrow, and I love how you celebrated it and that you were kind enough to share it with me.
That's right.
With some pancakes and some fresh
Yes.
fruit. So we had the not so healthy stuff mixed with the healthy stuff.
That's right.
Yeah, and very much appreciated.
Yeah.
But about you now, Christina. Congratulations.
I did have some. Thank you. I was gonna say I did have some pancakes. They're delicious. Thank you.
Enough about that. We want to talk about getting elected. So tell me first, why did you run? And I know you're excited about winning because you wouldn't have put your name on the ballot if you
That's right.
weren't really interested. But I know you have children, and
do.
you know they're in the schools.
Two pretty
Yeah, so
amazing
talk to me.
kids. Yeah. I worked for the schools for 20 years, and Rutland City Public Schools were part of it. I grew up here. I went, as my joke is, I'm old enough to have gone to Dana, but young enough to have graduated from the high school on Stratton Road. And even though
So Dana School, for those that are watching, is Dana School is on East Street in Rutland and was a great school for many, many years. And so I graduated from Christ the King School, but before I went to Christ the King, they didn't have a kindergarten back then. And so I, too, Christina, went to Dana
did
School.
you?
Yeah, for that.
You didn't have Eileen Bride, though, did you?
I don't even
Do you know Mrs. Bride?
remember. No, I don't.
She's still around.
So, yeah. so we have that in common, but
Right.
yeah, Dana School. And it's a great building.
It is a great building.
Renovated by the Giancola family. They did a
Right.
fantastic job bringing it back
Very
to
great
life. And it's
family.
mixed use now, which is typical of Giancola property, who they have a way of filling property and making it a great, active building again. I was glad to see them do that because the building has some history there that, a
Right.
lot of us have memories of and,
Yes.
and love to see it reclaimed and renovated and active again. And
It's probably good they took those big slides, those metal slides. It's
I
probably
went
good.
down the metal slide.
It's probably good that they took those down.
I can't believe we both went down that metal
Oh,
slide.
yeah.
Indoors. The indoor metal slide is what I
Oh,
went
I'm talking about the outdoor. Maybe they took it outdoor for me.
Oh, yeah. So they had the metal slide indoors, and I thought that
Wow.
was always the coolest thing.
Wow. Maybe we should bring that back.
So now, what's your thoughts about being on the school board? Congratulations.
Thank
and-
you. It's scary in the best way. I mean, I worked with wonderful people for 20 years, and a lot of them were people I actually had for staff members, and a lot of them have retired, but then the people who I worked with who, were just starting out are still there, and they're just amazing humans, and they work so hard, and I was lucky that I actually got to work as a health teacher at a different school for a little bit. So I have that perspective too, which working in the schools, I feel like I have all sort of different angles to look at. And
Very valuable.
yeah, so
Valuable experience.
I'm hoping to help make a positive difference and, listen to the community and what they think. But I know those teachers are hoping for a contract, so if there's anything I can do to help.
Yeah. So the contract hasn't, it's overdue.
Right,
Yep,
yes.
yep, and it'll have to be retroactive.
Right.
But yeah, I agree with you. The teacher contract needs to get done.
Mm-hmm.
So wow, this is exciting for you. And I just want to say, the school board is hard.
It is. It
And
is
so,
going to
I
be very
congratulate-
difficult. But I joked with Bianca, well, at least now. So Bianca, the assistant superintendent, and
Yes, yep.
I feel like I should bring up a picture. I have a picture of us from our yearbook ad. It's Bianca, Dundress, and I, and then the hookers.
Yes,
TJ
of course.
Hooker's in it, and then Greg
Sure.
Turner's in it. But anyway, so I was
Yeah.
saying, well, now Bianca, we can finally hang out together.
Yeah.
Just took me running for school board.
Right,
No, I'm
exactly.
just-
Yeah,
that's
no,
not
I
it,
love
but
it.
yeah.
I love it. The other thing, too, though, you get to, as a school commissioner, and for the school administration themselves, must be quite excited tonight because you get to start with a budget. It was passed by a significant
I
margin.
heard. I'm very excited every year that it being in the schools and seeing what they do and all the needs that our students have. I mean,
Yeah.
I just don't think people realize. It's made me a better parent. Just working in the schools, the first couple years, I was like, I'm going to be
Yeah.
a great parent for those teachers. Anything they need, I want to make sure. They
Yeah.
need Lysol wipes, they need cookies, pancakes.
Pancakes, and I know that to be true.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. So, and of course, I'm with Gail Donahue, my wife, and she's in the Stafford Technical Center. And
Right,
so,
that is such a wonderful place.
Isn't it
Oh my
amazing?
gosh, I went there.
The
Well,
50th
we saw each other.
anniversary,
That was
the mixer.
amazing. I
Yes.
couldn't believe.
Yep, it's grown, and they now have, they receive acceptance letters now to get into the programs there.
It's
that's-
incredible.
It's come a long way, and it's so important now to be able to provide vocations for
Mm-hmm.
students for their futures, and they literally can be hired. They can go on to college, many of them do, but additionally, they're oftentimes can be immediately employed in gainful employment,
Mm-hmm.
you know, right out of school as well. So it's a tremendous asset for the city, and that'll be, you know, one of the things that's in the budget and that you're overseeing, which is
Yeah,
fantastic.
I can't wait.
Yeah,
We have
yeah.
so many great things happening in Rutland.
So tell me about the campaign a little bit. And
Oh, no.
I always ask every guest on the program.
Campaign.
Because I think it's very important to know what you heard, you know, because you talked to a lot of people when you were out there. You were, you know, campaigning, you were doing the meet and greet kind of thing,
Right.
which is very important. Retail politics, you know, seeing the people, STP.
Right. I think for what I heard the most about, probably just because I'm still connected to a lot of people in the schools, was the contract.
Okay.
Which,
Yep.
And
No,
then
that's fair.
also I heard from a few safety, which was something
Also fair.
that I mean, even when I worked in the schools, I can, remember there being a big change and
Yeah.
the drills that we had to do. And
Yeah.
it's scary, unfortunately.
But it's
But those
good
were
to
the two
hear
big
that.
things,
It's
yeah.
good that you heard that. Yeah, and that you're thinking about it.
Right. Another thing I heard was they wish they saw the school. Some of the staff didn't know who the school board members were, and they wish that. But I know, and I spoke to
all
some
fair.
of the school board members about
Yeah,
it, and
yeah.
we're all so busy, so I have no idea how. It would be great if we could figure out a way. That our face can get out there so that they know that. Because I know everybody who's on it supports them. It's just how do we.
So besides the school board meetings, this is a great venue, PEG TV.
Hello, have you watched I Can Rutland?
Which one? Which one is it again?
The I Can Rutland? Have
I
you
Can Rutland, of
watched
course,
I Can
yeah.
Rutland?
Of course
Right?
I
I
did,
know.
yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
well, I wanted to do an
I
I
saw
Can
those.
Rutland school board,
Yeah.
like run for.
And finding miscellaneous things
Yeah.
on the street.
Yeah, I
and,
don't think,
you know,
like,
you never know what's going to show up on the street and become
you
part
never
of I
know
Can
a
Rutland.
shopping cart.
Random.
Don't you think it would be really good if, like, we did like a Parks and Rec version of?
Yes.
I think our friends at PEG TV would be very excited.
They are excited about all new programming. So they
Right,
have, as you
right.
know, three
Good.
separate channels now because
do.
Public Education and Government, PEG, there's where your PEG TV comes from.
I know they're wonderful.
And so they have room and but they need producers, they need people to just come in. So if you really want to highlight school board members, doing a new program about school, as a school board member, here's my program.
Right.
Come up with a cool name.
Well, it would be an I Can
School
Rutland.
Board.
It would be, well, right, that's what it would be. I don't know. We'll have to see. Maybe you can be on it. Maybe we can do an I Can Alderman.
Yes,
With-
absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If
So-
fluoride comes up, though, I get a little upset.
Who?
If fluoride comes up, I
Fluoride,
get a
yeah,
little upset.
Right, yeah, we're not talking about fluoride tonight. There wasn't.
That was
this
not-
time was
thank
not on the ballot
goodness,
this time.
thank
It's been a
goodness.
while since that wasn't on the ballot. Yeah.
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 Phew.
So that's fantastic. And again, I want to congratulate you and thank you and all of the candidates. You know, putting your name on the ballot, and I've said this every year that I've done this, which has been for a long time. It's hard, and it's, and it takes a lot of, I don't know, moxie is the right word, but just the fact that people have that willingness to put themselves out there, to be on the ballot, win, lose, or draw. It's the idea that people are willing to put their name forth to be considered for any of these posts, whether it's the city treasurer, the clerk, or the mayor, obviously, select board, school board members, auditors, moderators. There's so many in all these towns, all this horrible paper I piled up in front of me. And it's just, I think it's just so significant that people are willing to, what I call get off the couch, because it's not that easy to do. And to be considered, even if you don't win, just the fact that you campaigned and went through the process is to me, a very, very big deal. And I just always thank every single candidate that they gave voters choices and that they were willing to do the work if elected. That's a lot, and it gets harder as time goes on. Let's face it, with social media and other venues for opinions and things. I think more and more people would just say no thanks.
Yeah.
And I get it. So
It was hard.
Yeah.
It was hard.
So good for you for getting your name on there.
Yeah, you too.
Hey, so did you think you were going to win?
It was really weird. Some people were saying that I was going to be the top vote getter, and I was like, no, that's not. And I wasn't by 7 votes. Mary Beth got the highest,
Okay.
which was awesome. That means someone owes me a speakeasy beverage. But
Lennox
I wasn't.
Levens.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mary
Lennox
Beth,
Levens.
Yes, Levens.
Levens.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I can't say that enough
all
now.
wonderful humans. I was really sad that Courtney and Lauren didn't, but they're all still connected to the community, and I know Courtney will be a wonderful person to be connected with to get if I had any questions.
Absolutely, right.
And
Agreed.
Lauren's new to the community, and I think if this is something she still wants to do, and I hope she does, I think she would just be incredible. I was so impressed with her. I don't want to say I want to be. I'm here. I know I'm from here. People know me. I worked in the schools. I had all those different views. I had super cute commercials with my kids on it.
Well, I was getting to that.
but-
So I'll let you finish your sentence, and then I want to ask. but go
Yeah,
ahead.
it's one of those things where I'm just really blessed, and I'm really grateful. I had
Great word.
incredible support. I had a great team. I was really going to be happy either way because the people I was running, I don't want to say against, but that group, they're incredible humans.
Right.
So any of us really,
Right. It's not about running against people. It's about just putting
Right.
your name forth
It
as for
just-
consideration. That's how I look at it.
yeah. So I was feeling bad. I'm like, should I have really ran this year? Because I just sad to see the people who didn't get it.
Yeah, but again, it's giving voters choice, and
Well, that's true.
yeah,
That's true. So I'm
important.
hoping I can make a difference. And
Well,
if I have,
Sarah has a following, just like Gail has a following.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So, we know we had some secret weapons in the campaign.
That is
right?
very true.
Yeah,
Sarah
there's
is
no question.
Yes.
Undeniable.
That's right.
I'm not taking credit.
The decaf Catholics were huge support. Huge support.
Yeah, exactly. So that's fantastic, and I love that. It's the team effort
Mm-hmm.
and the agreement to be willing to put in the work if so elected.
Mm-hmm.
Is something that we all have to decide together on. It's not something that we make those decisions ourselves alone. Because
right.
it's a partnership. Absolutely.
right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
awesome. So one last question, because I do
Okay.
want to ask you about that commercial.
Oh, yes.
It was, well, wait, you had dueling commercials, because I saw the one on Facebook, and then you had the radio,
Yes.
and it was just, whose idea was the sort of like have some fun with this commercial idea?
With the radio.
Wasn't yours the radio ad too?
So in high school,
Because you
Dundas-
enrolled, I think you enrolled your kids.
Well, yeah. Well, so Dundas used to work. So I've always called him Dundas.
Okay.
Way in
Yeah,
high
yeah,
school,
yeah,
and so
yeah.
he worked at WJJR.
Yes,
and
right.
I think it's okay to say this, but we used to he would make recordings of us. We pretend we
Sure.
were like doing weather and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I asked him like, are you doing a radio ad? And he was like, yeah, actually it's gonna be on. And
Yeah.
and I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
he
is
did
that
quite a
something
few.
that I can do? And he's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah. And
Yeah.
it takes him like 2 seconds. I mean, he can do it
For them,
blindfolded.
yeah, right. Me, it'd
He's
be all-
so quick. And so I just kind of mentioned it to the girls. They were like, yeah, I'll do it. They were super excited.
Awesome.
And so we went to Dundas' studio at his house and just, he asked them some prompts and they gave their honest answers. And I think the only thing he really helped with what to say about like, it's your civic duty to go
Sure.
out and vote. And
Right. Yeah, true.
yeah, and it was amazing. And then Sarah, it was so great. She did her woohoo at the end.
Oh, is
So
that
she
Sarah's
got to
woohoo?
participate. Yeah, she's a
Oh,
great
okay.
woohoo.
Wow, all right.
And then,
Yeah.
that was pretty much it. My girls they've been incredibly supportive,
That's
and I
awesome.
know they will continue to be. And my oldest is going into high school next year, so
Yeah, which is another reason it's great for you to be on the school board.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So did you hear from them already?
My girls?
Yeah.
Oh yes, yes. My youngest was with me, and my oldest one was tired, so I came, as soon as we found out, I came home, and she just kept asking all the questions. She's even asking about you, and she wanted to know specifics about numbers, and I was like, I don't know.
Wow, okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
so they're
love it. Yeah,
very
yeah.
excited, yes.
Budding TV host, I can see in the future.
Oh,
There you go.
yes.
Well, that's great. And again, congratulations,
Thank
Christina.
you. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
I
Thank you.
don't
Yeah.
know if there's a way to the school board and aldermen, like I saw some things in the book that I don't know
Yep.
if we'll.
Yeah, there is one post. I don't know who's going to fill it, but Joe Barbagallo, who, by the way, I want to say
love
to Joe.
Mr.
Yeah, I want
Barbagallo.
to say to Joe Barbagallo, who stepped down this time, but congratulations, Joe, and thank you for all the time that you've put into the city. You're not done yet. He has a lot to
No.
do with St. Peter's, but thank Joe Barbagallo for again the time he served, and he's been on the Board of Civil Authority with me as a justice of the peace. Joe puts in the work.
He's an amazing family, the Barbagallos.
Yeah, but he stepped down, opened up that seat, and and I was able to gain one of them that was available. But he really just deserves that credit for putting in the time. And like I said, he's still busy, so
Oh,
he's not all
yeah.
done. He's just a little less busy with this new change. But the whole idea that that folks have been willing to serve is just so incredible, and he's just a great example of that. So again, thank you to Joe Barbagallo.
Oh, thank you so much for having
yes,
me.
my pleasure. Yeah, thanks for coming on. I was hoping that you guys would show up because
Yes, I know. Well,
it's just not the same
my
having
girl
to
said, go, we'll be fine.
Yeah, so I was hoping to get you into it by talking about the pancakes and Shrove Tuesday, and Sarah's
right.
over there laughing. So
Right.
yeah, so thank
You
you, Sarah.
You don't have to give up something. You could also, my hope is to write a thank you letter every single day.
So
instead of
what
giving
Gail and
up.
I do, we do add in, so every Friday night, starting this Friday night, we go to Way of the Cross. And that's how we end our week every week, or start our weekend. Yes.
Oh,
so
I like
that'll be
that.
6:30 Friday night. We're already looking forward to it. So,
Oh.
yeah.
So
It's
nice.
a great time. So thank you again.
Yes.
Oh, by the way, Joe Barbagallo vacated the position in effect by not running of being the representative, the Board of Aldermen's representative to the school board.
Okay.
I almost forgot why I was going there, besides thanking Joe. So maybe I could be the representative to the school board for
Maybe
the
if
Board
you
of
want to
Aldermen.
be, or if not, who knows, maybe you can come down to Brock.
There's that. So, but that's an appointment, so
Right.
that's for a
Okay,
later.
well, you
That's
did
for a
have
later
the
day.
ways.
But I did have a nexus there. I was just trying to get to it.
There's so many Rutland ways we can connect.
So, but thank you
ways.
so much. And
Thank
thank you
you,
for coming
Tom.
down
All
here.
right, have a
Surgeon
good
Alfie,
one.
thank you very much for coming down here tonight. We really appreciate it. And great to see your successful event tonight on Shrove Tuesday. And we'll all really appreciate you tomorrow on Ash Wednesday. So, thanks for being here. Yeah. Christina, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. That's fantastic. We were so glad that they came down because they really did have these pancakes, and I haven't had a chance to eat them all, but but provided the fresh fruit to go with them. But it's a great way to gather the community the night before the beginning of Lent, and at the parish at Trinity Episcopal Church, 85 West Street, right here in downtown Rutland, Vermont. So got a couple other things that were passed over, so I want to make sure that I get to them because we have all these towns that are working on ballot items tonight, including the town of Pollitt. And again, I'm just going to look to see if there was a contested race, and I'm not finding one yet. Yes, there is one. Interesting. Not the select board, not the school board, moderator, constable. It's the library trustees. And actually, they were voting for 2 library trustees this evening and had 3 people, actually, who came forth with their name on the ballot. So the winner looks like Corey Rail with 215 votes for library trustee. There was 2 seats, so the second unofficially would go to Susan Laporte as a library trustee. And then Annie Nash was third with 164 votes. So it starts out with Corey Rail, 215, Susan Laporte with 195, and Annie Nash with 164. And that's in the town of Pollitt for a 3-year term for library trustee. That was the one contested race out of all of the different positions in the town of Pollitt. Just looking to see whether there's any other articles that might have failed. But again, the school budget and so forth, 380 to 139. The district between the school board expenditure, 309 to 212, 309 yes, 212 no. And building and grounds and maintenance reserve fund, 365 yes, 155 no. So all of the articles for the schools and buildings and grounds in the town of Pollitt have passed. And I'll just look at all the other articles. There's a lot of them. And there really is a lot of them. And I'm just going to see that I think everything appears to have passed. So with all of the many articles, which is literally pages of them, appear to have passed, and I'm just going to verify that real quick. So rather than read each and every one, notice every article in Pollitt. And checking again just to be sure. And it looks like every article in Pollitt passed, every article. So there's that. And then they put the tally sheet up for the kids, which was a really cool. What kind of activity do you do in your spare time? And the winner was watching a favorite show, which I'm assuming would be television. But it was followed by a close second with play with animals, and then followed by making music, which is great. I love that. So that's in the town of Pollitt. The town meeting youth vote, they call that in the tally sheet. And then let me just keep going on. Make sure we're covering everything for every town that is represented by PEG TV throughout our county, which I think is fantastic because you even have Hubbardton coming in. And I'm just going to look again to see whether there's any contested. Yes. So selectmen, 2 years in the town of Hubbardton. Vote for one. You had two candidates, Catherine Stiles with 32 votes and Mike Wetmore with 52 votes. So by a vote of 52 for Mike Wetmore to 32 for Catherine Stiles, it looks like Mike Wetmore was elected selectman in the town of Hubbardton. So they were picking one seat, 2 years, and Mike Wetmore is the winner in the town of Hubbardton for the select board. Again, one thing, one not more than two, okay. And that appears to be the only contested race in the town of Hubbardton. But congratulations to Mike Wetmore. Moving on. Let's see if there's anything unusual here to report. Town of Chittenden, select board. Let's see, I can't tell if there's more. Let's look at the ballot items, and it looks like everything on all the ballot items appear in the town of Chittenden to have passed. Up to. So this is through these are the social service agencies, including Wonder Feet Kids Museum, which is always popular to know, appears to have passed. But then when we flip it over, when it gets to different budget items, I'm trying to see, because I don't know, I hate to say, I can't tell if this indicates winner. I actually hesitate to announce this one only because I can't tell if they have passed or failed for sure. So we're going to kind of hold off. These are the money items that were regarding the budgets and so forth, and I don't want to give any misinformation on that. So we're going to sit on that one for a minute while we determine that. And then let me just look at this one last thing. We've got apparently Middletown Springs, and that's the last one we've got right now. Registered voters, and let's just go to Middletown Springs. See if there's any contested races. Might be, let's see, nope. Support 3. Don't see, again, contested. Seat 3. Well, I'm going to read, oh, okay, here it is. Vote for not more than one Okay, so we do have a couple of contested races, starting with the Select Board, James Mars Jr., 132 votes, and Terry Redfield, 176 votes. Thank you for your patience on that while I determined whether they were contested. That's not voting for just one. There's two people, James Mars Jr., 132 to Terry Redfield's 176 votes for Select Board in the town of Middletown, and then the other Select Board seat, and I have a feeling that's a 2-year and this is a 3-year. Neil Russell with 146 votes to Isaac Yackel's 159 votes. So Isaac would have won in the town of Middletown, Isaac Yackel, along with what appears to be Terry Redfield for those Select Board seats in the town of Middletown. And let me just look to see whether there's any other particular ones that were contested. One, nope. But I'm glad we were able to call out those at least. Planning Commission, nope. So that's the big event. It appears in, so let's go to, in Middletown, Municipal Tax Stabilization Reserve Fund, passing 260 to 50, 260 yes to 50 no. Select Board to fund the reserve fund for town municipal facilities up to $50,000, 246 yes to 65 no. So again, consistent with all the rest of the evening, with that one exception in the town of Mount Holly here, with the school board, the school budget going down and the technical center budget going down. All of the other towns that we reported on this evening, and all the other ballot items and races, charter changes, et cetera, have all passed consistently throughout this massive paper that's in front of me now. And again, same thing in Middletown. Looks like this one is fire protection and emergency response, 257 to 58. I'm just doing the Reader's Digest version. Poultney Rescue, 216 to 98. Yes and no. Let's see, Rural Fire Protection Task Force, 271 yes, 44 no. And Regional Marketing Initiative for Cedar, Chamber and Economic Development of the Rutland Region, 171 yes to 144 no. And one last one here, the Mentor Connector, 205 yes to 108 no. So again, consistently, all charter changes, ballot questions, budgets, social service agencies, and all those types of questions across all of the towns that I've covered tonight have all been yes, with just that one exception of the town of Mount Holly, which was a no on the the Unified Union School District budget, and a no on the River Valley Technical Center budget. Other than that, the voters were of a mind to approve tonight. I am going to go back real quick and reread some results from Rutland City, but let me just quickly, because we've got other towns and we do represent the whole county here, I'm going to look for any races, but it looks like Killington was good enough to send their results. Thank you, Killington. Looks like Ricky Bowen, 215 votes for Select Board, 1-year term, over Robert Hecker's 114. And Patrick Cushing, Select Board, 3 years, winning with 196 votes over Christopher Carr's 131 votes. So that is in the town of Killington. Everyone else was not contested. And let's see, it doesn't say what these articles are, but if you're in Killington, just to let you know, Article 2 is passed, Article 3 is passed, Article 4 is passed, Article 5 is passed, and Article 6 has passed by significant margins, yes versus no. So all articles in the town of Killington passed. Again, Select Board 1 year, Ricky Bowen has won election, and Select Board 3 year, Patrick Cushing has won election in the town of Killington. Let's keep rolling here. We've got so many. Here's the one that was contested, very important, in our friends over in Rutland Town. Select Board race, there was a contested race for a 3-year term. Joseph DiNardo and Byron Hathaway it was relatively close, but Joseph DiNardo wins with 472 votes over Byron Hathaway's 425 votes. So Joseph DiNardo has appeared to have been elected select person for a 3-year term in the town of Rutland over Byron B.J. Hathaway. Sarah Garofano Russell ran unopposed for her 3-year term. 2-year term. The other one was a 3-year term. And I'm just looking to see whether there was any otherwise. Just going to look down through the town articles and see if everything has passed. And it appears everything in the town articles passed. At this point, let's keep going. All the town articles appear to have passed in the town of Rutland. Just double checking. There's quite a few. Yep, so all of the budgets and town articles in the town of Rutland have passed, and Joan DiNardo appears to have won election to the 3-year term for the select board over Byron B.J. Hathaway in the town of Rutland. Thank you very much for sending that, town of Rutland. Let's keep going. We've got Poultney, Vermont. We have, let's just looking to see if we have something contested. And again, I wanted to recognize the clerks and the ward clerks and everyone, because this is a lot of tremendous results from around the county. And they've been building this for some time here at PEG TV to get this response from the town so we can report it out to you. But it takes them to communicate it to us before we can give it to you. We've been getting a lot of them tonight, and I just think it's wonderful and really appreciate and value that partnership we have with the towns to communicate this information so we can communicate it to you through PEG TV. Getting back to the contested races, if there are any, and I'm looking to see, and this is again Poultney, and I don't see any contested races, so going to go right to the questions on the ballot and see if anything failed. Otherwise, every question on the ballot, question 2, 3, 4, and 5, all passed by significant margins in the town of Poultney. So if you know what those are, every ballot question passed in Poultney, and that's that town. And then one more, it looks like, and we'll do the same thing just to kind of cut to the chase, because it would take forever to read every ballot item, but it's easier to tell you if they all passed and you know what they are. But let's look first to see if there was any contested races in the town of Fairhaven. I think there was, so we're going to keep looking here. And let's see, one, apparently not. It looks like it was 1 for 1 and so forth throughout. And so no contested races to report in the town of Fairhaven. So let's get to the articles. 1, 2, 3, and 4 all passed. And then 5 through 14. Again, all passed. And last but not least, 15 through 19. And they all have passed. So all of the articles in, now let's look at this one. There is a special meeting. So this is Town of Fairhaven. Let me read it. Shall general obligation bonds or notes or other evidences of indebtedness of the Town of Fairhaven in amount not to exceed $675,000, which is in addition to the $1,200,000 in indebtedness approved at a special meeting of the town on March 7, 2023. Such additional indebtedness subject to reduction from the receipt of available state and federal grants in aid to be issued for the purpose of financing the cost of water system improvements in the area of downtown Fairhaven. So there we get to it. The water system improvements in the area of downtown Fairhaven. The aggregate estimated cost of all such improvements being $1,875,000. And in favor of that bond issue, 292 yes, 190 no. So the bond for $1,875,000 for water system improvements in the area of downtown Fairhaven passes. So there. One more thing coming in, Jim. Tinmouth Town, and it's all nicely written out, so I get to just read from above. I don't have to decipher anything here. This is great. Thank you, Tinmouth. Josh Squire was reelected to a 3-year term on the Mill River Unified Union School Board with 108 votes to 43 from Michael Fowler. So again, Josh Squire was reelected to a 3-year term in the town of Tinmouth on the Mill River Unified Union School Board with 108 votes to Michael Fowler's 43. Rick Fowler was reelected to a 3-year term as Lister with 85 votes. Carolyn Fury, received 59 votes for the 3-year term as a Lister. Incumbents reelected and all unopposed were Kevin Eaton, Select Board for a 3-year term, Cindy Goyette, 3-year term as Auditor, Kat Yoder, 3-year term as Delinquent Tax Collector, and Holly Ross, 1-year term as Moderator. Town and highway budgets were both approved in the town of Tinmouth. And as a request to authorize the Select Board to purchase a speed cart was defeated. So there's one more defeat out there tonight. They were rare this evening. I'm not familiar with what the speed cart is, so we're going to have to really, that's going to be, I can't wait to figure that out. But a request to authorize the Select Board to purchase a speed cart was defeated 85 votes to 63 votes. 85 no to 63 yes. In purchasing a speed cart. It was a request to authorize the Select Board to make that purchase in the town of Tinmouth. So now the mystery is, what is the speed cart? And I look forward to figuring that out. So that covers everything at that point. Real quick, if I can find those totals, to do a recap, we had a request from a Facebook watcher. Just to give some final totals here, again, I'll say for the 49th time tonight, unofficial totals, and that's all I can say. But we do the best we can to get accurate information, but all has to be properly certified. So with that caveat, again, I'm going to give you a little bit of a glance at the Rutland City totals with percentages. So Mike Dunges would have received 56% of the vote with this tally, with 2,075 votes, and Henry Heck with 43% with 1,581 votes, with total votes cast 3,677. Because you also had some write-ins, 21. City Treasurer Mary Markowski with 3,198. She was uncontested for the post of City Treasurer. 25 write-in votes, so she had 99% to 1%. City Assessor, 99% to 1%. Katie Burke Langlois, 2,913 votes and with 31 write-ins. Getting to the Board of Aldermen, it looks like I'm just going to go in alphabetical order. Alex Adams receiving 14% of the vote with 1,398. David Allaire, 21% of the vote with 2,058. Jeffrey Bruce, 10% of the vote with 1,034. Paul Clifford, 18% of the vote with 1,776. Larry Coopeley, 18% of the vote with 1,769. Tom Donahue with 19% of the vote with 1,936. Kurt Esposito with 8% of the vote with 846. William Billy Gillum Jr. with 17% of the vote with 1,681 votes. Gina Grove with 12% of the vote with 1,147 votes. John McCann, 13% of the vote with 1,280 votes. Kiana McClure with 17% of the vote with 1,658 votes. And Carrie Savage with 14% of the vote with 1,406 votes and 47 write-ins. School Commissioner for the City of Rutland, again in alphabetical order, Karen Bossi with 17% of the vote, 1,573 votes. Sarah Dunges with 16% of the vote with 1,508 votes. Mary Beth Lennox Levens with 19% of the vote and 1,706 votes. Christina Sweet, 18% of the votes, 1,299 votes. And I want to thank Christina Sweet for one of the first school board candidates I think we've had on the program and all this time. So we're going to have to make sure we focus on that for the future. I think it's great to have the school board on live election night coverage here at PEG TV. So thank you, Christina Sweet. Lauren Weiss with 15% of the vote, 1,414 votes. And Courtney Collins Whitcomb, 14% of the vote with 1,310 votes. And then 272 write-in, and we don't have the results of that. There was 2 candidates that were asking to be considered as write-in candidates, so we're going to have to wait to see on that, how those broke out. And if that works, I actually don't know what the rule of thumb is regarding write-in candidates and what qualifies as a valid number to achieve to be elected, or if it's just the highest total of those written in. I'm not sure. So we will determine that, and that will have to be unveiled at some point in the future. Oh, but I want to correct myself again. I did this earlier. That was the write-in votes in the 3-year term. Let me get to the write-in votes for the one where 2 people were asking to be potentially written in. Again, don't have winners in that, but 649 write-in votes. So that actually is the number that we're going to be looking at, is 649, of which of those 2 potential write-in candidates received more of those votes. But again, I'm not sure how that is validated by, as a write-in candidate, what it takes to trigger being a qualified candidate. There might be some threshold there, but I don't know what it is. And let's see, we got another town. All right. So let me just quickly finish up the city, and then we're going to get to the town of Ira. This is great. So we have these amazing small towns coming in tonight. So that's going to keep us on the air here for a minute. But getting back to the election results in Rutland City, it looks like the budget article number 1, which is the municipal budget, 2,309 yes to 1,272 no. That's $26,635,000 and some change. Passed handily. And Article 2, the school budget, also passed handily. That's $67,187,000, and that passed 2,296 yes to 1,346 no. And then the rest, let's see. There was the bond issue for, well, let me go to it here if I have it, because I hate to. I have it right here. Just to be clear about it, bond article number 1 is bonding, authorization to bond, and that is, oh, yeah, not to exceed $3,830,000, and that is bond article 1. Social service agencies, bear with me, because we have it right here. That is stormwater improvements, street and sidewalk improvements, with the expectation that the entire debt service would be, such bonds or notes would be paid with a portion of the city's local option tax sales revenue. And that passed 2,500 yes to 1,069 no. There, so we got to the bottom of that one. Then we had the change to the charter articles. Article 1 passing 2155 to 1215. That one references the penalties. That one references the cap on the purchasing policy of $3,000 and removes that $3,000 cap so that the purchasing policy, it'll be, instead the amount would be as identified in the purchasing policy and awarded upon bids hereinafter set forth, rather than in removing the $3,000 limit there. The next one, Charter Article 2, was the, I'm going to go to that. That is the one that sets the police department up with the equipment replacement fund of their own, removes it from the where it was included with DPW and recreation. That passed 2182 to 1298. The next one, removing, limiting the cap on penalties and violation of our city ordinances, so forth, which was set at 1 year or $500 fine, is now in sync now with the maximum penalty allowed under the state statute 24 VSA 1974. And that passes 2245 to 1197. And then all the social service agencies. So we had a total of 14 of them, and they all passed. So there's the recap on the city elections. Hopefully that was helpful. And now I'm just going to go to, because we have this great small town that was kind enough to call in. The mound gets bigger, but the towns are calling, so we're very excited about that. Thank you very much to all the towns out there that are calling in results for us tonight. It's very helpful, and we appreciate it. This community access television here is Rutland Region, so not city-centric, although the city ballot items are so important, but we love to report these small towns out there throughout Rutland County. So basically, it looks like maybe uncontested, but I'll just read it down through since they took the time to send it. The school director, 3-year term, Philip Lapp. School director remaining 1 year, Philip Lapp. School moderator, 1 year, Mary Middigy. Auditor, 3-year, no declared winner. Interesting. Delinquent tax collector, 1 year, Deborah Perry. Lister, 3-year term, Karen Davis. Lister remaining 2-year term, no declared winner. Town moderator, 1 year term, Mary Middigy. Select board, 3-year term, Darren May. Select board remaining 2-year term, Tim Carter. And town clerk remaining 2-year term, Bobby Raich. So there is the results of the elections in the town of Ira. So at this point in the evening, and I don't even know what time, 9:19, I think we're through pretty much all of the totals. A lot of excitement here in the city of Rutland. Recapping that the mayor has retained his status as the mayor of Rutland and is reelected to another 2-year term. We have some changeover on the Board of Aldermen and some returning folks. And we want to thank everyone who has served on the board and put their name on the ballot. Congratulations to all of you for being willing to take on that workload or campaign for the post, because it isn't easy. And I certainly sincerely appreciate you all. Other than that, one last shout out and thank you to the town clerks for providing all this great information. And last but not least, of course, the great team here at PEG TV. If we don't have any other further information, I think we are about the point where we're going to sign off for our live election night coverage here for the March elections. But, we'll be back next time around. I do want to recognize what a great job PEG TV also did with, doing a mayoral forum, doing an aldermanic forum, helping educate voters, making it easy for them to listen to the candidates and their views on the issues and current challenges, future opportunities. Is tremendous. Community access television in Rutland Region is the best, and we're very fortunate to have them, as you know, so you can see sports and local select board meetings throughout the county and other big events that are happening, like the Halloween parade, and that their recreation department does such a great job with each year. And so, very proud of this organization and very honored to be part of it here. So with that, I think we will sign off. And again, thank all of you so much for watching. Thank you for voting. I'm Tom Donahue. I've been your host for live election night coverage. We'll see you soon.